Welcome to Coach Hayes Football Live. He can talk about anything from high school to the pros. This guy knows the game, so you better not be half-stepping.
I can guarantee you most of the audience is going to agree with me before they agree with you.
Strap in, because Coach Hayes is about to
crack your cranium and fertilize your brain. Go ahead and right here, right now.
Subscribe now and check out CoachHayesFootball.com.
Here we go again, baby. Another great episode of the Coach Me Coach podcast, episode 39. The trending topic out there is Ed Reed goes on a rant about Bethune-Cookman. Let me know everything looks good, sounds good in the building. Happy Martin Luther King Day to everybody out there. Thank you all so much for coming in and hanging out with us on this great holiday for a great man who did great things in the community and across the board. But I don't have a lot of time with our guest. At last minute, he came in. I'm super excited. Ran across his page earlier this morning as I'm, just looking at all of the things unfold about Ed Reed. And he had a very interesting take on it. Very articulate in that situation. I'm super excited to have him on. Mr. Randall Barnes from the HBCU Pulse. Randall, how you doing today, brother?
Good afternoon. I'm great. It's MLK Day. I'm excited for, what this conversation is. And I'm excited for tonight because the Cowboys are going to beat the Tom Brady. So I'm cooling.
Now, Randall, we just met, but you about to put a real strain on this friendship, my brother.
I'm not a Cowboys fan. I'm just trying to get my picks right. that's all I'm saying.
Okay. Well, I'll take that. If you're trying to get your picks right, I'll work with that. But that other stuff, we got to talk a little bit because, I'm a Dolph fan, and my Dolph fans, helmets to the left, shoulder pads to the right. Keep your mouthpiece and your jock strap, please, and we'll see you next season. That's where we are right now in this deal, Randall. So let's jump straight into this hot topic, man. We currently got 63 in the building. I know it will definitely climb as it comes in. Hit the like button, subscribe button as you come on into this deal, as well as I had to put subscribers only because the bots will tear up the chat. So guess what? Coach Hayes giving out free subscribe buttons this year for 2023. Bro, I done given out at least 1,000 free subscribe buttons in the first 16 days of this year. So, Randall, that's what it's all about. Before we get started, let people know who you are, what you do, and everything else, and then we'll.
Yes, sir. So what's going on, everybody? My name is Randall Barnes. I'm the founder and CEO of HBCU Pulse. We are a lifestyle media company that we go largely on digital. We have almost 50,000 followers on Instagram. We have 23,000 subscribers on YouTube. And we just inked a deal where we have a SiriusXM radio show, HBCU Pulse Radio on SiriusXM. Channel 142, HBCU, Fridays at 5 p.m. So you can learn more about what's going on in the HBCU community in a different way. I'm not bland. I'm not, someone that doesn't have the facts or the issues. I like to keep it real. And also I like to keep it energetic. I like to keep it fun. So it's super fun, and just definitely check it out and tap in.
Yeah, and I would definitely get all the information. I'll put it in the description below. You can check it out. It's not there right now, but I would definitely get all that information and I'll put it there so you can check them out with dates and times and so forth and so on. Let's jump into this deal. Ed Reed, as we all know, was on the staff at the University of Miami, my beloved U. All right. And chief of staff and all that through Manny Diaz, stays over for the Mario Cristobal era. We all know the trending topic with Dion becoming the head coach, Eddie George over at Tennessee State, Hugh Jackson down at Grambling. This whole wave of high-profile guys taking over HBCU jobs, mostly without any experience besides Hugh Jackson, taking over these jobs, getting these opportunities at the HBCU level. Now, Ed Reed gets his opportunity at Bethune Cookman, which is here in Daytona, Florida. So let's kind of talk about that real quick. You may have followed up or done some shows in regards to that. What was your initial thoughts when you heard Ed Reed takes the job at Bethune Cookman?
So when I heard about it on December the 27th. That was when the news broke. And I was excited. I was excited but cautious. I was excited because Bethune-Cookman has a storied football program. In the 2010s, they had 9 winning seasons out of 10 years. I believe 2016, 2017, they had a below winning record, but they're a successful football program. And in their history, they've been successful because at first they were in the MEAC, Now they're in the SWAC. So I was very excited, but I was cautious. I was cautious because of what happened around the storm of having Deion Sanders at Jackson State. I was cautious because of the expectation of bringing a celebrity in to change the paradigm of HBCUs when that's not really what we're looking for. We're looking for someone that can help. We're looking for someone that has resources that they can lend to that particular HBCU, and also to bring some level of publicity and exposure to HBCUs in general. But we want him to coach, and we thought it would be a different paradigm than what Deion Sanders was, which you say is going to be the savior. So that's really what I was expecting, but I was excited to see the SWAC get so many amazing coaches, and I thought it'd be entertaining, and also getting more high-profile athletes to come to the SWAC.
I got you. And then when you say we, right, I'm gonna use this word. You talked about we, and there has been a stigma, I guess, about we as SWAC, right? It's kind of like this culture, lack of a better term, like this subgroup or Illuminati type, this country club, like you only fit because you're in this deal. And I noticed you used the word we. And so when you say we, there was a lot of talk about an outsider coming in, right, with Deion. As we all know that Coach Eddie Robinson was talking about, he not SWAC, I'm SWAC. Is that what you mean when you kind of talk about the we, meaning like another guy coming in kind of from the outside world coming into this deal and potentially making a change or changing up what we're accustomed to?
Well, to be clear, I'm not SWAC. I went to Fort Valley State University. I'm SIAC. I'm SIAC. Okay, so I'm not SWAC at all. But when I talk about we, I mean more so the HBCU community, because I think in general, when we go to an HBCU, you want other HBCUs to win. Like, even if it's your rival, like you might be like, oh man, like Albany State, because like for Fort Valley, Albany State's the rival. So I'm like, I don't necessarily want Albany State to beat us in football, but I am super excited when I hear something great about Albany State. They got their new head coach. I'm super excited about that. So right. as an HBCU community, we were excited to see Ed Reed start his coaching journey at an HBCU, and we were encouraged as well. We were cautious. We were also encouraged because he came in with a different experience and skill set than what Deion Sanders came in with, because he was a coach in the NFL. He was a coach on the Bills. Then he was for 2 years the chief of staff at the University of Miami, looking at things from the administrative side. And he was dealing with, helping with player development and all these different things. So we were excited to see what he would do at a school such as Bethune Cookman. So I was super excited from that front, but also was cautious. But that cautiousness was met with a level of optimism because of his background.
And you bring up the word cautiousness. What made you cautious? I can understand the positive piece, but what created the cautiousness to say, okay, well, here's a guy, like you said, he has coaching experience, may not a ton of it, but he does have some. And then he also kind of learned maybe the administrative side by being the chief of staff, kind of seeing how things work behind the wall or behind the curtain. So what created that cautiousness in your eyes, or maybe just in the HBCU community?
Exactly what happened on yesterday. The cautiousness of everything is about the celebrities, where it's like, I'm a celebrity, I'm an outsider, y'all ain't talking about these issues, so I'm gonna talk about it. Y'all, there's trash all around. When it's like, sir, you like when we say an outsider in this HBCU community, we're talking about these things. There are things that are going on that you're not privy to. So we're not saying that there aren't issues that are being addressed, but we know what we're doing now here. We're not the slums. I always say HBCUs aren't the slums. We know what's going on. So that was the thing we were talking about, is that, man, listen, I want you to come in. You have a different sector of experience than what even Deion Sanders had, because you've seen things from the administrative side. And to be honest, University of Miami, it wasn't all peaches and cream down there. So he's seen some coaching changes. He's seen some things happen. So we're expecting a different level that with him coming in. We're expecting like a different level. And I saw somebody on the YouTube channel when I said that, hey, we were expecting something different from Deion Sanders. I'm not saying he can't be vocal about issues. What I was saying is that Deion Sanders is prime time. He's prime. He's been that for years. But we thought that Ed Reed would be a little bit more. He's not going to be as flashy. He's not going to come in and say, I am the savior of HBCUs. I can fix it. I can help. But he did. So that was why I was cautious. So I guess I was cautious for the right reason.
So here's my question. Did he say that? Because we'll go through the video. I know you're limited time. That's why I haven't played it yet. I will play it when you leave, because I know you have some other things to do. And again, I appreciate you coming on such short notice. But I do want to push it, because Let me go to lead it this way. On the thumbnail, I simply put, he got his arm stretched out and it says, "Was I wrong?" So apparently I can tell from your perspective, yes, he was wrong. But was he wrong what he said, or was he wrong how he said it, or was both things wrong?
Everything. Because in the first video, he said that I've done more for Bethune Cookman than folks that have been there for years. Like, that's the first thing. Like, dude, you just got there a week and a half ago. Like, how have you done more than what people have done that's been at Bethune Cookman? Like, how is that even possible? How can I walk into a job and say, "Oh, I've done more than y'all that's been here"? Hey, he hasn't had an introductory press conference. He hasn't even had a full recruiting cycle yet. So how can you possibly say that you've done more than folks that have been there? And then you want to specify, because I know in my comments, I said student leaders, I said alumni, I said professors. Well, let's boil it down. You have Reggie Theus, who's the athletic director, who's also a celebrity, who's a former NBA player that actually might get in the Hall of Fame. So shout out to him. He just came in 2021. So he hasn't been there for years. He's been there 2 years. Who are you talking about? Because that's a relatively new staff. So years, who are you talking about? So I feel like a lot of times with celebrities, they have this notion of, "Oh, I'm the guy. I've seen the higher levels than what HBCUs are, so I can come in and make it happen." But HBCUs aren't the slums. Like, we've had amazing graduates, we've had amazing football programs, and Bethune Cookman has been great for years. They've just now started to have situations, especially on the football side, where they had 2 straight 2-9 seasons. But we've seen greatness from Bethune Cookman. And it was great before him. It's going to be great after him. We want him to come in and succeed. We want him to win. And we want him to contribute his resources in the best ways that he can. But come on, man. Like, you've not done more than people that's been there for years. And who are you talking about? Point them out, because that's a new regime from 2 years ago.
And that's fair. So let's talk about this piece as we push on to this deal. Let's talk about some of the obvious things that we saw in this video clips. And for those that have not seen it, I have an extended version that is not really popular as some of the shorter ones that you've seen, like a minute and a half. I have an extended one where he's kind of riding around the campus a little bit on the track side of things, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But you said that there are things that happen in the HBCU community that he may not be privy to. Cool. I'm an HBCU grad too. I'm just posing questions in this deal. I don't know if you noticed, I did a Deion Sanders video. I felt like I kind of, after I did some research, kind of stuck my foot in my mouth, had to come back and kind of apologize based on the things he'd said in regards to the Shannon Sharp interview, so forth and so on. All right, cool. Here, how do I say this? If you had to name 3 big things, and you can elaborate as much as you choose, but what are the 3 big things that kind of haunt HBCUs as a whole? And again, as the whole, the new trigger word or the key word is monolith. Yes, no, we are not a monolith. Not all HBCUs are the same, but there are a lot of similarities. There are a lot of things. And I did say this. I did say we know about HBCUs, but I have to say a lot of our processes are broken. In the way in which we do things. So please let me know, what are some of the things, because you do run a channel that is geared really only to HBCUs and things that go on. Give us your insight on those maybe just at the top 3.
So I agree that there are some processes that are broken, but the first thing I would say is that HBCUs aren't given the benefit of the doubt, because although there are situations that are going on that are bad, that are wrong, at the same time, there's a lot of things that are going on that are right. And just because the issues aren't yelled out from the top of the mountaintop, "Oh, there's trash," that doesn't mean that people aren't handling it. And another thing that people don't look at is the fact that there are issues that plague HBCUs. We're underfunded, and a lot of people have been trying to dance around us being underfunded. You can't celebrity your way out of underfunding. You can't donate your way out of underfunding. We have been robbed of billions, almost trillions of dollars for almost a century. Like, there are folks that have committed economic crimes against us, and people aren't really factoring that in. Because if you look at it, he talks about the trash. Look over there. It's trash. Look at this building. It's full of trash. Bethune Cookman dealt with 2 natural disasters, Hurricane Ian and Tropical Storm Nicole. Did he mention that in his Instagram Live? I saw the whole 4-minute clip. I didn't see it live, but I saw the 4-minute clip, and on HBCU Pulse, I posted him being demonstrative in the last, I think, minute and 50 seconds that he did his Instagram Live. He didn't talk about that. because there's a hurricane that happened and it takes money allocation to make that happen. And that goes to the third thing. There are positive things that are happening at HBCUs. There are great things occurring at HBCUs. And HBCU detractors talk about the mismanagement of resources. Oh, that's why Deion Sanders left. Folks ain't getting the money. First, that's not true. And on HBCU Post, we debunked that. But also, there are a lot of great things that are going on that a lot of HBCU detractors come in and they highlight, well, see, HBCUs need to get that together. But if you talk about Fisk University's gymnastics team, did you talk about all these institutions that are taking control of their media rights? And there's a conversation amongst HBCU alumni and media professionals that are being had about sports media rights, and that HBCU media deals, although some are pretty faulty, they look better than what a lot of these white conferences have. So we're not talking about the positive side of it. We're talking about, oh, it's so many problems. But also, what are the solutions? If you say that there are problems, if you say, oh, HBCUs are so ghetto, well, what are the solutions? Since we're so in the slums, since we're so ghetto, help us out. Help us pull folks out. How do we get out the ghetto? Help us out, because all I hear is problems but no solutions.
And I'm big on that on this channel, right? I've always said when we talk about different topics and I say people want to pose problems, I always say this. If you're going to pose a problem, you have to pose it as well as a potential solution. Doesn't mean it has to be the solution, but if you put that much energy in focusing on the problem, give me the same energy on a potential solution. So again, it doesn't have to be the solution, but that's part of the brainstorm. I can always point out the ugly, but how do we make it better? And so therefore, in that sense, as I looked at the video, Randall, I have to say this. I get what you're saying about the trash. But there are some basic stuff in there that I saw that doesn't take money, just some pride. Like, why is there a pallet in the middle of the track? I'm not talking about major trash cleanup. We're talking about the hurdles are just knocked over. This wasn't like, the storm wasn't yesterday. We're talking about people who use those items, maybe the coach, I don't know, particularly, but people who may use those items to have the pride to put them back up nice and neat. When I saw where he's on the track side of the deal, and I don't know what that cover mat is. It's all torn up and blown around. We're just talking about basic, simple cleanup of, there's a huge pallet in the middle of the floor. In the middle of the track, there's hurdles that, for example, this may be a terrible analogy, but in good times, right? I may live in Cabrini Green in the projects, but it could be nice. Because I lived, I had to have, stuff thrown all over, potato chip bags and so forth and so on. That doesn't mean I have the nicest of everything, right? I don't have a Picasso hanging on the wall, but I could straighten up the picture on the wall, if that makes sense. Does that make sense where I'm going with that?
It makes sense, but why was that blasted out to all of his followers when it just could have happened? Like, why is he saying that, oh, I've done so much in a week and a half than folks have done that have been there for years? Because to me, it doesn't seem like he's talking about a hurdle being knocked over. It seems like he's talking about something that's more systemic. And how would he know about that? Because pick it up. I get it. At Fort Valley, I'll say this. At Fort Valley, we had a situation where it was a student leader that went on Twitter and said, listen, like, y'all are dropping stuff around campus. Y'all need to pick it up. Like, that's unacceptable. And as a student leader that was doing media at the time, and of course that turned into HBCU Pulse, I did a video with him. And we did a video where we went and picked up the trash. And then we did a video where he talked about picking up the trash and how things need to be beautiful on campus, because it helps with recruitment and it helps with pride in general. We did the video. We didn't say, oh, all HBCUs need to pick up the trash. We didn't say, oh, like, this is such a big problem, I'm picking up the trash, and this is such a big issue. We need to help HBCUs. Just go pick up the trash. Why do you need to pat on the back for it? Like, that was my problem. And it seemed as if he wasn't just talking about the trash. He was talking about something more systemic. Because did Jackson State have trash? Because what did he mean when he said Coach Prime was right? Because it seemed like he was talking about something totally different, because now we're not talking about the trash. Like, what are you talking about? What was Coach Prime right about? That, oh, we don't care about HBCUs? Let me know that. Because trash, yeah. Because I know at my HBCU, that was an issue. And as student leaders, we handled that. But we didn't blast it out saying, oh, Fort Valley is so messy. We just went and handled it. And then we did a video about it. And then we did what we did. Like, that was my problem. What are you really talking about? Because now you're defaming the campus in which you're hired by, that was hit by 2 natural disasters. And a lot of the things he was talking about is because of what happened with Hurricane Ian and Tropical Storm Nicole.
Okay. And that's fair in that sense, regardless of major cleanup issues, right? We're talking about a destruction of a building or whatever the case may be. I personally think, as I watched that 4-minute video, see, I saw there was a 1 minute, 30-second video, then there was a 50-second video. And later on, I had a chance to see that 4-minute video. It's probably about 3.5 minutes before that last part where you see him on the cart and he kind of goes off and he loses it. I guess it was a troll called talking about what did he say? He mutton them or whatever the case may be.
Mutton them, yeah. I don't know what that means.
Well, that's old school. That's a term of my day. Me like, man, you mutton me, like you putting me out there. Why you doing them like that? Why you doing them dirty? That's what it typically means. I'm not, like I said, I know what that means back in that day, but younger cats, y'all got different terminology. I have no idea what it means. Like, right, it's all good. But how I took a part of that, because in the 4-minute video, he says, I told y'all I don't trust nobody. They told me they was going to do this and da-da-da-da-da-da, and it ain't happening. And so in that part, I think now you're starting to see the frustration grow. And again, this is all speculation. I'm looking at a 4-minute video. I don't know what was said in interviews. I don't know what was said behind it. I don't know what was said that morning. He may have gone to the higher ups or whatever and say, hey, man, didn't y'all tell me y'all were going to make these moves? Because he says in that video, they said it was going to help me build what I needed. And again, I don't know that time lapse of how long that process is going to take. I don't know. I'm just going off the information he said in that video. So when he says that, I assume when he said Coach Prime was right, meaning, and I may be wrong in this, that look, I talked to these people. When I'm saying these people, I'm talking about admin, higher ups, ADs, presidents, boosters, whoever that may be. And we say we're going to give you this, that, and the third. And now when it's time to start divvying up these deals, it's not happening. And that's kind of the same complaint I believe Dion was making, but he did it a little more tasteful, I have to say, on the Jackson State side, was saying, look, we said we're going to do X, Y, and Z, and now y'all telling me, no, it's A, B, and C. That's how I kind of took what he said after I saw the 4-minute clip, the bigger clip, which I'll play here in a second. But that's how I kind of took it. You tell me your thoughts. Do you think I'm on track, off track? Maybe that's what he was talking about. What?
I don't think you're off track. I think that when I look at the Deion Sanders experience, I think that Deion Sanders is a lot, but I do think he cared. I think he cared about building young men, and I do think he cared about Jackson State. And there are some things that as HBCUs we can do. And there are some things that as alumni of HBCUs that we've raised and that we've talked about, and we've not run from it. But the problem is, why are you a famous person, a PWI attendee, because we know that Deion Sanders graduated from Talladega to get the degree to become a coach, and you have Ed Reed, who is a Hall of Famer, just like Deion Sanders, and he went to the University of Miami, played all 4 years, won a national championship, then went to the Ravens. Why is that what you're coming in with? And it's been a week and a half. Why is that the talking point? Why can't things happen behind the scenes? Then maybe if there's some situations or some issues, give it a month. Like, what's going to be built in a week and a half? And maybe it was a conversation that was in November. But as you said, he's not on contract. What changes do we expect to be made in a week and a half? What changes can he make in a week and a half?
I don't think he's looking at major changes. I think he's looking at common courtesy things, right? Like he said, this is my office. It's trash in my office. Like y'all didn't even clean out the office, bro. Like, and I know it seems simplistic, but there's also a way in which certain things, it's almost if you rented a brand new apartment, you walk in and it's trash all amongst it. They didn't even clean it from the person before, but yet you want me to take this apart. It's kind of that kind of stuff, I think. And we all know, I don't think it was one instance, but probably within a week and a half is building. I think he let that troll get into his emotion. I think that's where he made his fatal flaw. But there are some common courtesies that we expect as people who come in to take on any job. I don't care if it was Coach Hayes taking that job or if it was Ed Reed taking that job. You expect when you unlock your office, it shouldn't be Dorito bags and god doggone trash. You know, you may see empty furniture. It may not be the furniture you like. Now, if he was complaining about that, then I call him a diva. But if you walk in and it's just, and again, I don't know what that looked like in the office when he considered trash. Was it one Dorito bag or was it just a bunch of papers strewn about? I don't know. But I think those are the kind of things that he's saying. And that's why I say about the process. Because if I'm the admin and I'm hiring a new coach, hey, why is it not cleaned up, guys? We got to get this clean. Right? Same thing with the AD. What if that new AD walks in, the athletic director's office is trash, or the president of the university, he's taking over for the new president of the university in his trash. If they don't see the pride in that, and I'm not just talking HBCUs, I'm talking about any company. I don't care if you're white, black, purple, green, Indian, whatever. If they don't see the simple pride in giving someone a clean office, then does that kind of tell you a story maybe about down the road how difficult things may potentially be? I'm just posing a question.
So I understand where you're coming from, but my thing is this: why are you doing an Instagram live about that? Like, and then he was saying that as opposed to, see, this is what I'm talking about. See, this is why I say we need help. You're talking about your office not being clean. Okay, I get it. I would want my office clean. But I'm not going to go on Instagram live and blast it out when I have hundreds of thousands of followers and then what you said is going to get aggregated. That's the problem, because we have to hold ourselves to a standard when we're talking about HBCUs. We have to hold ourselves to a standard. We have to hold ourselves to a standard to uplift our HBCUs and address the issues that we run into in the right way, because we're not afforded the same opportunities that Alabama is. We're not afforded the same opportunities that UGA is when they have their issues. We're not afforded the same issues that Ohio State had to deal with, the Ohio State had to deal with. We're not afforded that. Because when Fort Valley had a situation, it was like, oh, well, see, this is why I didn't send my kids there. But with Ohio State, they don't have to deal with that because people still go there and they're not being drugged through the media. HBCUs don't have that luxury because of a complex of inferiority that folks have about HBCUs, number one. And that's something that we have to confront within ourselves, because Black businesses, Black churches, Black organizations, Black schools, we always look at the negative side of it instead of the positive of it. And there are things that need to be done. There are problems that need to be handled. But why don't we look at it from another point of view? Why don't we look at it as, hey, this is an issue, but I don't got to take this to social media? Because is that really that big of an issue? And it wasn't that big of an issue, because in the first video, he didn't say, hey, y'all, man, my office wasn't clean. God bless y'all. No, he said it when he was addressing, see, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about with these folks. These folks ain't done this and that. These blanks didn't do this and that. You're saying that to build your case and your argument of why you're saying you think that you've done more for Bethune Cookman than folks that's been there for years. That was the problem, because that was said in support of the argument to us being upset at the first video. So it wasn't that big of a deal for when we was driving.
So I guess I'm going to go back to that, because I see that part really is on to you as well as a lot of other people, right? Where a lot of people are taking issue with the fact that he said, hey, I've been here a week and a half. I've done more than people have been here for years. So for example, when were those storms, Nicole and Ian? I don't know the exact, a year ago, 2 years ago, whatever the case may be. I guess what he's saying, look, bro, there's an issue here. I got here a week and a half, and he goes through and he talks about, see this right here? This was all trash in front of me. In a week and a half, I've already gotten the bulldozer. I've cleaned it up. I've done what I'm saying. And I think what he's trying to say, and I may be wrong in this, but, and I'm going to go back and say this. I understand your point about, you know, putting our business on Front Street, right? Lord, this might be the wrong person to quote right now, but and K West says family business is family business, right? So I'm only quoting the song, but y'all don't kill me. But what he was saying was, and we know how we are, right? Hey, what happened in our house, stay in our house. Everybody, Miss Susie down the street don't need to know what's going on in our house. And so I think that's an issue as well. But let me go back to say, I think a part of what he may have been saying was, and he didn't articulate this very well, maybe because of emotion. We're talking about videos and so forth. But what I think he was saying is, as I look at these videos and I looked at it, he's saying, bro, I've been here a week and a half. All of this right here in front of me was trash. May have been from Hurricane Nicole, may have been from Ian or whatever the case may be. But I came here and I cleaned it up. When the university has a staff of people, whether it's, you have admin and you got groundskeepers and so forth and so on, whatever the third, who could have taken the same bulldozer or excavator or whatever he used, because you can hear him in the car. He said, I got to get out of the guy's working. And you can hear the thing backing up the machinery. Beep, beep, beep. I don't know what was going on, but I did see like a tractor type, bulldozer type deal in the frame that, look, I cleaned all this out. Why should I have do that as a head coach? When y'all have it's just like when Deion saying, man, I got to go out here and cut the grass. Like, why does the head coach have to cut the grass at a university? This ain't high school, but at a university where the head coach got to go get on the lawnmower. That's just his thing. That's where I think we have to do better as HBCUs, is the basic necessities have to be taken care of. I totally agree with you. We want a holographic machine to come in when the recruits. That's way different. But we're talking about basic things that's happening around campus, like you said. Whether the admin go get the student leaders to come up and clean this trash, whether you go get these communities, fraternities, sororities to clean up the grounds as community service organizations, in which they are. The majority of them are not just social club, but a community activist social. All of these things could have taken place. And the guy saying, bro, I come here to this job. They're like, yeah, I got trash in here. And I think there's a culmination of all of the things that have happened to him in the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back. And then that troll got him and he just lost it. How do you feel about maybe that point of view, in the sense of, yes, I agree with their certain things. I do agree that everything is not everybody's business, but I'm gonna ask you a question about that. But what about the onus going on to the admin to say it's unacceptable for any person to walk into their new place of employment and it's dirty?
I agree. And I think everything you're saying is fair. But once again, we have to look at what's going on with Bethune Cookman. There was a head coach that was named in Ed Reed, but they still have an interim president. So when you have an interim president, someone that is temporary, there's not a culture that is being constructed of leadership just yet. And that's something that has to be understood with what Bethune Cookman has going on. And there are folks in the chat that went to Bethune Cookman that can speak to it better than me. But that's the thing, is that we're blasting out and we're attacking Bethune Cookman. We're attacking HBCUs, but we don't know the full story. And that is not a situation that is just on this HBCU situation. That's a situation that's in politics, definitely in sports, because I talk about it all the time on my personal Twitter. That's what happens in sports. We don't have the full story. And what you said, you're right. But here's the thing that you said that I agree with the most, is that the issues aren't pluralistic. And it's not at every HBCU. Because one thing as student leaders that we confronted is that there's trash that's around the stadium. We had a whole entire situation where we went, and for community service hours, we went. I did it. I didn't need community service. I was fine with it. But like, I went and picked it up with a couple student leaders at Fort Valley. We did that. We did that after every game. There were folks that did it after every game as part of the pep squad. There's student leaders that can do that. There are fraternities and sororities. It's Founders Day for a lot of them. But right now it's Zeta Founders Day. They do campus cleanups during those community service days. So it's not a pluralistic thing where it's like, oh, I blame Bethune, because there's stuff that we can do. And as someone that was in SGA, someone that has advised SGA leaders and rural court members, and even have helped them get in position by creating and running their campaigns in recent years. That's things that we have to do as student leaders and members of the community. So the conversation can happen. And that's true, that there are problems that are happening. And the administration, they need to hire a president. That's true. But at the same time, I'm not going to say Bethune-Cookman is the issue. See, this is why Deion Sanders left and went to Colorado. No, because there are things that we all can do. And there's a sensitivity that for our Black organizations and our Black institutions that we must have. Because when I look at it, I look at Coach Eddie Robinson at Grambling, making $63.75 a month. And he had to cut the grass. He had to drive players to and from where they needed to go. He had to make meals for them. That's something that historically HBCU coaches had to do back in the day. Jake Gaither and all the different amazing coaches that we had back then. Deion Sanders didn't have to do that. Ed Reed does not have to do that. And that's the thing where it's like, bro, all we're saying is just raise awareness to issues, but tactfully. Like you don't have to deal with Eddie Robinson had to deal with. That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is that yes, you are correct that trash can be picked up, and I think that student leaders can do that, and maybe they are. Then the fraternities and sororities can do that, maybe they are. The alumni can help with that, maybe they are. But he used it to weaponize his talking point that he was doing more for Bethune-Cookman than folks that have been there for years. And that was the problem, because you are the high-profile head coach of Bethune-Cookman University, the football team, the Wildcats, and you're dragging your future employer through the mud at a point in time where people are latching on to anything to discredit HBCUs. And to me, that's the problem.
I can agree with that last part. That again, HBCUs. As you know, I'm an HBCU guy. I even got my man right here from Norfolk State up here. I made sure. I'm just saying, I made sure that with all of these great names, I also represented students as well from all walks, from Power 5, Group of 5, HBCUs in all aspects, because I do think they're important. And HBCUs and HBCU football is not subpar. It is not slum. I totally understand. And I don't know, like I said, we literally just met. It just talked literally probably about 30 minutes before we got on here. And I really appreciate the conversation, the dialogue. But the last piece, like I was saying, I totally agree with what you're saying about kind of putting it out there in that manner. Do I disagree with what he said? Not. I disagree with how he said it, and he should have articulated some points better. But that's what happened when you jump on a phone emotionally. You don't get all your talking points out, right? And when you get onto something like that, it's just like when people tweet something emotionally and don't think about it, then you have the backlash. Now, even if he came out and he wrote down what he wanted to say, and people are still going to have an issue with it. I totally agree with that, because you're not going to please everybody all the time and so forth and so on. So now I guess my question to you, Randall, is, here's the hypothetical. All right, you're my admin. I'm Ed Reed. You say, hey, coach, man, we want you to come in. We're looking to do X, Y, Z in this thing. 1, 2, 3 is going to happen. And also A, B, and C is going to happen. Cool. All right. I come in here. Basic stuff is not being done. I come to you and say, hey, Randall, man, listen, bro. All right. What's the next step? What are we going to do? These are all hypotheticals I'm speaking. Well, we got to push that back a little bit. Now you're starting to get frustrated because the promises that were made potentially are now getting kind of pushed back. Now, yes, it's only been a week and a half, but there's simple things, simple things can push people over the edge, right? Like a week and a half could be a long time if I can't get into this building properly or whatever the case may be. How does Ed Reed now articulate that to get exposure to it, I guess? Because I think for years, people have been talking behind closed doors, the presidents, and I don't think there's really been any change. Sometimes you got to scream off the highest mountaintop to get people to listen.
I think that when you look at Ed Reed and you look at what he did, and like I said, we have to look at the timeline. On Saturday, he did, I think it was Saturday morning, he did the video where he was just riding, and then at the end of it, he talked about how he did more than folks that have been there for years, and HBCUs need help, and Deion Sanders wasn't wrong. Then the other video came. I think that you have to
I'm
talk
sorry
to
to
your.
get a timeline. I'm sorry to get a timeline. The one where he's sitting in his car happened that morning,
Mhm.
and then the one where he's on the golf cart happened sometime later that day.
Gotcha. Okay.
Oh, no, I'm asking, is that the timeline?
So from what I'm understanding, that was a Saturday situation where like the first video happened on Saturday, and then I know for a fact the video where he was cussing and all that, he showed this is trash, that happened around 2-3 o'clock. Because I remember seeing it. I was watching the Bills Dolphins game, and I was like, "What in the world?" And I got up, I came here, and I did the recording. So that was like he went live after he saw all of us talking and saying, "Hey, you shouldn't have done that," and "Hey, you're saying this and that." That's when he did the live saying, "This is what's going on." Then the troll triggered him on that same live. So yeah,
Got you. So the timeline is, hey, I'm sitting in the car. Prime wasn't lying. Da 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 da. So apparently, you could tell he's had some kind of conversation recently with an higher up because he said these people are mentally not dysfunctional. That's not what he said. He said broken. People are mentally broken. Blah 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 blah. And it's the people that's running it. That was in the car. That portion of the video was in the car. Then he may have probably went back, looked at the comments, and people like, man, why you mugging us like that? Like you said, why you doing this, that, and other, da 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 da. And then he went on live again and said, you know what? Y'all don't believe me? Let's ride around. Because remember, he says to whoever he's riding with, I told y'all people weren't gonna like this. I told you the people was gonna have a problem with this. So that second video may be a response to the people not liking the fact what he said when he was sitting in the car.
Yes, and it was because I know like that was what I was sort of like at first when I was tweeting. That's what I was really upset at, and then the other video sort of exacerbated me then saying, "Okay, let me do a video on it." But here's the thing: when we talk about broken mindsets, I just want to know who he's talking about, because who has a broken mindset? Because your AD is a celebrity, but his AD is a celebrity that is basically about to meet him. Because Reggie Theus is most likely about to go into the Hall of Fame because he was a really good player in the NBA. So you have a former athlete who is the basketball coach as well as the athletic director. So are you talking about him? Are you talking about the board? Who are you talking about? Because if you're raising awareness, because this is something that in media advocacy and media literacy we have to deal with. If you're raising awareness, the awareness has to be somewhere. It has to be a call to action. When I write a caption on Instagram or a tweet on Twitter, I'm trying to get a direct call to action. So if people have broken mindsets, who are the people? If folks aren't listening, they didn't clean out your office, who are the people? Is it Reggie Theus? Because if it's now, are we having the conversation about, well, he's the basketball coach and he's the athletic director. Now maybe that's the conversation. Maybe he needs to hire another basketball coach so he can manage day to day. Now that is an issue that we then can talk about and we then can pinpoint. But who are you talking about? Because to me, it would seem like you have Reggie Theus that might sympathize with you because he's come from the same place you came from, basically, because he was a high profile athlete and now he's at an HBCU. He's in administration. That's honestly what I want to know, because I just think that in general, people are jettisoning past what the facts and what HBCU alumni are saying that we're wrong. And honestly, for me, I don't think that non-HBCU community members are necessarily wrong, because I've been vocal about it both in private and publicly about the problems that go on with HBCUs and how we can confront them. I've not been that person. I'm just going to show the pretty picture. That's not been who I've been. It's not been what HBCU Pulse has been. But at the same time, there has to be a level of sensitivity and a level of understanding for our institutions. And that is the part that really upsets me, because at HBCUs, and you know this, we have a sensitivity to what is ours. We have a sensitivity to our family, because what we say is that, yeah, like, I'm gonna ride for you in public, but in private, we gonna be on your head. I've had that happen to me before in my family. Like where's like, you shouldn't have done that. You know what I mean? Like, so that was what we were taught. And we were taught because I was an orientation leader at Fort Valley. And for 4 years, literally, because I graduated fall 2019. So from 2016 to 2019, I saw 4 classes at Fort Valley, and I helped those freshmen come into the university. And the one thing I would always say to them is that don't let anybody talk down about Fort Valley. Don't let anybody talk down about your HBCU. And that's something that I echo to other student leaders that I've worked with and that I've trained and that I've helped them with building their campaigns and developing them as student leaders. That's what we're taught.
I totally agree. And like I say, I'm with you. There are certain things that not water cooler talk, right? We got to close this door and talk about this. I totally agree with that. Real quick, we got 603 people in the building. Appreciate it. Hit the like button, subscribe button, man. I tell you, we're growing fast around here. I really appreciate Randall Barnes from HBCU Pulse here with us as we talk about this deal. Like I said, Randall, if you got to go, I understand, but it's good. I tell you, we're gonna have a good time on this deal. And
I'm here. Listen. I'm here. Let's let's do it. Go a little bit longer. I'm here.
All right, so let's do it. So now here's the next question. Here's the next question. If things are not changing, this is not an Ed Reed question. This is a HBCU problem-solving question. If people, admin, upper brass, are not fixing issues when we have closed-door conversations, and I come to you like a professional, I come to you like an adult, and I sit down and say, X, Y, and Z is not happening. I need help. And the help is not coming. But yet, watch this, because here's the thing about sports. You are the face of the problem. So, for example, if Ed Reed was told, again, X, Y, and Z is going to happen, and it's not happening, come game day, they look like this. It's not the president. It's not the AD. It's not the booster club and the board of trustees. Ed Reed's face is on that. And that goes for any coach. I don't care where you are, whatever school it is. So if you're not giving me the resources that I need to do my job at the best of my ability, and you said you were going to offer those to me, how does one, again, not Ed Reed, this is just a solution problem. How does one convey that message without necessarily hurting an HBCU or mugging them, if you understand what I'm saying? How do they do it democratically, politically correct? How does that happen?
So I think that first, there has to be a conversation internally, because I believe that sometimes we jettison to social media to handle issues when that's not necessarily the right way, because that can exacerbate the situation. I think that with Reggie Theus, you have someone that comes from the same background that he came from. For example, using Ed Reed as an example. And you go to him and you explain the situation, and a good leader will be able to handle it. If that doesn't happen, I'd say approach it again and say, hey, AD, like, what's going on? Like I said, this is going to be this situation. What's going on? Then there are ways to properly address it from there to garner support from the alumni and maybe even from folks nationally. Because here's the thing that I look at. What I look at is that Ed Reed is in the king position. And here's the reason why he's in the king position. Because folks are never going to see HBCU folks' viewpoint. No matter how much I try, no matter how much anyone tries in the HBCU community with the platform, people aren't going to see our viewpoint, because inherently they're going to consider us emotional. They're going to consider us irrational. They're going to say, well, you went to an HBCU, you're being biased. And then you're going to have like a Stephen A. Smith or a Shannon Sharp that's going to say, hey, I'm going to be a critic. I went to an HBCU, so I'm going to criticize this situation because this needs to happen. So Ed Reed is going to be in the driver's seat. You don't got to get on cussing folks out, because if he says, hey, listen, I've asked for this and Bethune Cookman has not given us this, I'll be the first to say on my show, that's not right. And I will handle it with more sensitivity than other folks, because then people will run and say, see, y'all gonna run off Ed Reed. He gonna go to Colorado State. But it's like, that's not being sensitive to the situation. That's just sort of inflaming and needling. And then now that brings the HBCU alumni out defending. But if there are issues, you can address them, because there's a step where if it's not getting handled, you then go to social media or you reach out, because a lot of times these universities and these institutions do not like bad publicity. So what we've seen oftentimes is that when you do raise that antenna in the right fashion, now things happen. And I've seen that happen many times. But this is a different situation because we went from step one, I guess, because we don't even know if step one happened. We might be on step 0 to step 4, which is raise the antenna. Because also a step could be maybe we talk to the alumni. Where's the alumni president? Has he had the opportunity to sit down with the SGA president? Because a lot of people forget that the SGA president can also raise issues and they have an ear to the administration. Have we talked to them? Have we talked? And like I said, we talked to the AD. Like there are ways to handle situations without hopping on social media and cussing folks out. That's just how I look at it. It has to be a strategic way to handle it.
I totally agree with I agree with you. Because what you don't want to be poised as the ABM, right? The angry black man. I get it. But I guess my question is, and I still got to get this answer out of you. You said it. You can take to social media, and I meant to say I said democratically, but diplomatically. My HBCU education. So, but you can take to social media. But I guess I'm still posing this question to you, Randall. Is how? How do you do it diplomatically on social media to scream from the loudest mountaintop? So now people can hear you, because the reason I'm going to say that, you told me it was December 22nd. You heard Ed Reed was the new head coach.
December 27th. December 27th. Yeah.
So December 27th. Of course, you got there. So approximately almost 21 days, calendar days. He's probably only been up there a week and a half, but he has been the man for at least approximately, let's just say 20 days, rounded off or whatever. Right. And I remember when I got the job up here, before I moved up here, every day I'm on the phone with the AD. I'm on the phone with the principal. I'm on the phone with the Booster Club president before I actually make my move, calculating a strategy to attack this new season. I wasn't there physically. Zoom meetings weren't a real big thing at that time, but calculating strategies of, hey, when I get there, X, Y, and Z kind of needs to be in place so we could do this. I'll be there in the next 2 weeks. So I think there has been some talks. He may have been on campus a week and a half, but there has been some talking. You don't just get the job and be like, all right, see you in 2 weeks, Ed. Nah, that stuff jumping now because recruiting is taken apart. All of those things are playing an issue as it's running because they're probably trying to salvage some recruiting class. There's a lot of things going on in that instance. And I think, and I really believe this, he didn't articulate this, but coming from the coaching world, how am I supposed to get recruits and I got to spend time cleaning my office, man? Like, these things get so frustrating, right? Because in coaching, everything is timing. I got to be here. We got to get this. I got to be in these homes. I got to get the kids on campus. And I can't even bring them on campus. Granted, he's used to coming from the University of Miami, the Baltimore Ravens, the Buffalo Bills, so forth and so on. This is not even presentable to bring anybody here. Like, when you look at it optically, I'm saying. So now instead, I'm spending my time bulldozing a lot to make it presentable, when these things, I think it's kind of like what you expected to be done in that sense. So I'm back to my question is, how does he now scream from the loudest mountaintop without ruffling so many feathers from people like yourself, people like me who are grads that say, you know what, I can see your point of view, but you're not bashing HBCUs in the process?
I don't think he has to scream. I don't think he has to. I think he has to speak to what's going on. But I think that scream as like the adjective, like scream, because he's not necessarily, even though he wasn't screaming. He was sort of talking loud though when he did the thing, but he wasn't screaming. Okay, he wasn't screaming. But screaming metaphorically, I think in what you're saying is saying loudly enough, this is an issue, and then getting the decision makers to make something happen. I just honestly do not think that Ed Reed has to do what he did to make changes happen, especially at this level when it's only been a week and a half. I believe that this was jumping the gun, and this was a response that in itself was emotional that he then apologized for. I think that how you do it is like I said, you respond tactfully. Because if you respond tactfully and then there are issues that are going on, the public's going to be on your side. Like, for example, and this is something that I got a show love to Off Script, who's with the Urban Edge Network family. I'm with Urban Edge Network, HBCU League Pass Plus. He did a live today. He said that
his show earlier, right?
Yeah.
He had a blue kind of. Yeah, I was watching his stuff earlier, man. Good stuff.
Yeah, shout out to Off Script. Like, so he was talking about
go ahead. I apologize.
How Deion Sanders, he was almost like Martin Luther King, almost, where like he would sweet talk you. That's more palatable than MF this and MF that. Because if you look at it, and although I have disagreements with a lot of the things that Deion Sanders said, because some of them are inaccurate and untrue, and I know that for a fact it is. But for example, like the money game situation, I didn't necessarily disagree with that. I think that he didn't have all of the facts when it came to certain situations, but I didn't necessarily disagree what Deion Sanders said about the money games. And that was a conversation that was then elevated, and people were like, you know what? Deion Sanders making a lot of sense. But if he came on and said, listen, y'all HBCUs, y'all MFers don't know nothing. Y'all don't know nothing about what's going on. See, I played in the NFL. I played at this. Now it's like, bro, who are you talking to? Now I'm taken aback. Because there's more tactful ways to do things. Like when I study communication, because I study communication and I study different communication styles. And you walk up to somebody and you say, man, you ugly as I don't know what. I'm defensive. Like, what did you just say about me? But if I say, how are you doing? Like, you meant, I'm loving that suit. But it's some lint right there. Oh, for it? Okay, let me get it. It's ways that you engage with human beings. It's ways that you communicate. So I think that's all that's happened.
Yeah, and I'm cool with that. So that's my question to you. You right now, boom! I just hit you with the magic potion. You are Ed Reed. How do you get them with honey instead of vinegar? And when I said the word "scream from the mountaintop," what I meant, and I know you know what I meant, but maybe to the viewers they can understand, I wasn't saying literally screaming or being loud or boisterous. What I was saying was, how do I get the message to the masses that we need help at BCU? And how do I get that message across? So now you got the magic potion on, you're Ed Reed. And again, we're not going to hold you to it, for example, but what does the message kind of look like? What does the structure of this message look like to the BCU community or HBCU community across the board that, look, stuff ain't moving here like we need it to, and we need help?
I think the first thing that you have to do is you have to understand the issues that are going on. I don't think he understands them. And that's okay. If I'm Ed Reed, I got to understand what's going on. So if I'm Ed Reed, the first thing I'm doing is I'm talking to the AD. I'm talking to some alumni. I might talk to some former football players and say, hey, like, what's going on? And I might have talked to Deion Sanders if I'm Ed Reed. And then I confront the issues that are in front of me. I don't go on Instagram Live, considering myself the savior. And then if things maybe within a couple of weeks aren't handled, I bring it back up. And then from there, I say, hey, listen, I've become the head coach of Bethune Cookman, and we have these situations that have not been handled. So I'm calling on alumni to help me make this happen.
Do you go to social media with that? Like,
well, personally, I wouldn't, but if I'm Ed Reed.
I'm saying, how do you get the message out? That's what I'm asking you. How do you get the message out? That's my point. I'm not saying that it's right or wrong. You're going through step A, AD. You're going through the president. You're going through the booster. You're going through all of those steps. I'm just talking. Now, these things are not moving. How do you now get the message out to the alumni and maybe other people that may want to help, like a Walmart or whatever?
My only thing is that in the Ed Reed situation, because I'm going to answer twofold. I don't know if that has happened in the Ed Reed situation, but in the hypothetical, if you gave me the magic potion and I'm Ed Reed, I just believe that it has to start with a conversation, because I honestly don't think social media has to play a part until something is demonstrably wrong. I don't think that a part that has to be played. Social media you don't have to run the social media. I just personally believe, because if we're going off the Deion Sanders example, Deion Sanders didn't necessarily have to run to social media to blast Jackson State. He didn't really have to do that, because that athletic department was his, essentially. Because Ashley Robinson, the AD, made sure Deion Sanders was good. I just personally don't believe that Ed Reed has to deal with that. And I don't believe that he has to run the social media to make that happen. But if he did need to raise awareness, you have to do it with a level of tact. Like there,
Okay.
I look at it like there's not really a way that I can say, hey, this is the right way to do it, because we haven't even crossed that bridge yet. But I know that, for example, when there are situations that occurred and it was an issue that was happening on campus, for example, you raise that issue. You say, I talked to this and that person and things haven't happened, but he's the head coach. So I don't think that Randall, who went to Fort Valley, that was a student leader, that was an SGA, is going to have the same power or connections as the head coach of the football team that has had success, and alumni want more success. I just simply don't think he has to do that. And I think that that is the problem when we talk about outsiders, because at what other institution does this happen? Because I don't think that,
right. No, finish your point.
No problem. So for me, like, I just feel like Deion Sanders at Colorado is not going to have to do that, nor will he do that. Nick Saban, I know Nick Saban, Deion Sanders at Reed is different tiers, because Nick Saban has been there for a few years, won a few championships. But I just think that as the football coach, you have a large platform, and most likely when things get handled or a contract gets signed or what have you, he's going to be the highest paid employee at Bethune Cookman. We're not going to know those numbers because unless they release them, they're a private institution, so they're not going to release those numbers because they're not bound by the state, like state institutions like Jackson State. But he's going to most likely be the highest paid employee, and we can say, oh, he doesn't need the money. But being the first person that's getting the most money means that there is some level of a platform that you have. So I just simply do not believe that he has to go to social media. Now, your Walmart situation, like you said, maybe there is a Walmart. Maybe there is a Baltimore Ravens doing something. Maybe there is connections that he can deploy. But I just personally don't believe that he's going to have to run the social media. But if he does, let's say he does need to. Let's say that Reggie Theus just ain't listening. Let's say the board ain't doing what they need to do. You don't call them or say, oh, I'm cussing them out, MFers, they ain't doing this. You don't do that. I can't say what necessarily to say, but all I know is how it can be received. And as a communicator and someone that studies communication, that's just simply not going to be received the right way.
Okay, and that's cool. I get it, right? So I understand what you're saying. I just still think that there has to be something done. And the reason I bring this up, because you talk about Reggie Theus, is that correct? The AD's name?
Reggie Theus, yes. Mm-hmm.
So here's where I'm going to tell you right now, Reggie Theus dropped the ball. And I'm going to go back to something very simplistic. If Reggie Theus is the athletic director, he's been at professional level. You saying they're the same person, different sport, right?
Mm-hmm.
Played at.
No, that I'm not gonna say they're not the same person. Aaron Reed was something else now. They ain't totally the same person.
No. I'm talking about, right, I can agree with that. But I'm talking about being in organizations where they've seen things done a particular way, right? I don't know Reggie Theus. I'm not a big basketball fan. I don't follow basketball too much, so I don't know. So y'all Twitter me to death with that. All cap me, I get it. But to your point, if Reggie Theus, and see, here's where I have issues. If Reggie Theus has played in the NBA, right, just like he has been in the NFL, would that be fair?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Where did Reggie Theus play college ball?
I'm not 1,000% sure. Like, I know, but I can't just say it. Yeah, I can't just say it off the top. Yeah.
In 20 seconds, we'll have our answer.
Okay, cool.
Reggie Theus, the chat will let me know. Reggie Theus, where did he play college ball? Reggie Theus played college ball, played in the NBA. He's been good enough that he's probably going to go into the Hall of Fame. Is that what you just said?
Yeah, he's nominated. So, yeah, he's nominated.
He's seen admin at work. And your own coach that you hire don't even have a clean office, bro. That's an issue. I'm just saying. I hear what you're saying. Let's have a conversation. But we're talking, you're the AD. Forget the president. The head coach that usually, typically, 99% of the time, answers to the AD. The AD's been there 2 years. Am I correct?
2 years, yes. 2021. June 2021, he came in. Mm-hmm.
In 2 years. And he doesn't have a move-in protocol for coaches? UNLV. So he played at a basketball school in UNLV.
He did.
And he doesn't have move-in protocol and checklist for coaches? Because guess what? I guarantee if Reggie Theus, and I'm going to say something bold here, if Reggie Theus was the AD at the University of Florida, I bet the head coach office would have been clean. Because there would have been a protocol in place. Because I guarantee when Reggie Theus walked in his office, it was clean. These are the things. And so therefore, it's almost, and I understand what you mean, but at Ed Reed, you're saying, okay, you want me here, I want to be here. But then there comes a thing of a respect factor. That's what I was trying to get people to understand. That, yes, I understand it's brick and mortar. Yeah, we got to put paint on it. But day one stuff, I'm analogy king. I know you don't know this yet. Randall, I don't know if you're married or not.
I'm not.
But let's just, okay. Let's say you go to, you meet this young lady. You really like her. You go to her house. She got underwear on the floor, pots in the sink, clothes all over the place. She might be a one-off. You come back and you see the same thing. And then you decide to marry her and you're going to get mad because she's dirty? She's been like that since you met her. She's been showing you the pattern. Hold on, hear me out. She's been showing you the pattern. And she's showing you the pattern and you decide to ignore it. And what I'm saying is, if this dude comes in, though very simple little things, she might be a lovely person, take care of you, love you to death. But some things may be a deal breaker. You just can't walk in the house and step over a pair of drawers, though.
But I wouldn't have married her, though. I don't think I wouldn't have married her, though. If I knew that.
Say it again.
I wouldn't have married her. I wouldn't have married her.
Exactly. And that's the point. Because
that is the point. Yeah, that's the point.
So you foresee the problem, but you foresee the problem that's going to exist. So those are the things that's happening at a job. Like you see something like, hold up, bro. First of all, he's an AD and the head coach. I don't think two things can be good in that situation because you can't serve two masters. Hard to say at that level. If you're trying to build something big, bro, this man. Somebody say bad analogy. I tried my best, dog, but you know what I mean. Some of y'all married them same girls, and guess what y'all do with your homeboy? Man, I can't stand her, dog. She always got her bras hanging up in the sink. I can't stand her. But anyway,
I hope he ain't going to social media though, saying that. That's the only thing. Man, this girl here.
It get bad enough, he just might. You see it all the time. You go on Twitter, be like, dang, she nasty. She live like that. So it might have been a bad analogy.
Well, man, he need to move his stuff out because he gonna get some gonna happen to him when he sleep. He better be at a hotel. He better move in with his homeboy. Like what?
Thank you, man. D. He says, great point, coach. I got it. So basically, instead of trying to sweet talk it, sometimes you got to rip the Band-Aid off of a bullet wound. And that's what I think, whether it may be the wrong tactic or not, because here's my next question to you. He ripped the Band-Aid off a bullet wound when it needs stitches. And so now, here's my question. As much as we may not like it or whatever, do you think stitches will now be applied, or do we put another band, or does another Band-Aid get applied? Because right now, this is a leaking wound. We will, Bethune Cookman, you understand what I'm saying, will not survive. And that's the wrong thing to say. They'll survive it. But I'm talking about the building of the program I'm saying, right? How do we put stitches in this gunshot wound?
Well, I think that what Ed Reed did, going to the analogy, is that it was a Band-Aid. He ripped it off. It needed stitches. He then pushed the person down, stomped on their arm, and said, nah, see, this is the problem. Then said, oh, hell, Wildcats, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done that. Like, that's how I look at it, because it's like, and I feel as if there is a Band-Aid on it, and there are issues that are going on, but those issues are sort of bigger than what he can do. And I think that what he's done is that, and I said this in my commentary about, in general, the celebrity idolatry that goes on at HBCUs and incidentally in the Black community, is that he's looking at the Deion Sanders blueprint, of I am the savior. I'm going to do all these different things for Jackson State, when that is not what HBCU folks wanted. I know that from some Bethune Cookman folks that I spoke to, that is not what Bethune Cookman wanted. They just want to beat FAMU. They want to restore the pride of that football program, and they want to compete, and they want to maybe make the Celebration Bowl, make the SWAC championship. That's what they want, and I think that is what's being overlooked. I think that there is a Band-Aid, because the Band-Aid is the destruction of like a Tropical Storm Nicole and Hurricane Ian. The Band-Aid is that what's being Band-Aided is that, hey, we do not have a permanent president. I think that those are the issues. I don't think it necessarily needs stitches. I just think you need to get competent folks in there that can make it happen. And I also believe that, and I said this in my video on yesterday, if you look at it, Bethune Cookman believes as if they made the right decision. Before this situation, you bring in Ed Reed. That's a splash hire. I was told by my guy, Josh Sims Jr., who hosts HBCU Nightly on Twitter, that you have PR hires, you have football hires. Ed Reed was a PR hire. Now, that doesn't mean he can't build a good football program. That doesn't mean he's not going to get a lot of good transfers and recruits. He was a PR hire. You hired Ed Reed to say, hey, we are moving forward with this university. You hired Reggie Theus to say, hey, we're getting high-profile guys that have seen the other side of collegiate life, so we're going to bring them in to build up this program. That's what they were hired for. So Bethune Cookman believes that we don't need stitches. We're going to take this Band-Aid off and we're going to heal. That's what they believe. So I think that when we look at it,
what you believe and what the truth is two different things. As an outsider looking in, do you think they need stitches, or do you think they'll heal on their own?
I think they'll heal. I think they'll heal because they've healed before. I think they'll heal. And I think it takes the alumni working. I think it takes the student leaders working. I think it takes the leaders such as Ed Reed and Reggie Theus working. I believe that they'll heal. I honestly do. And I believe that the cleaning of the office was a rhetorical talking point that Ed Reed used to prove the point of why he said what he said. I don't think that the office being clean was the issue. And I see a comment. I'm not about to clean his office. I mean, I don't live in Florida. You know what I'm saying? But I think that was the issue. I think that rhetorically, that was because I'm a writer. I started off writing. Before I was doing the HBCU thing, I published a book when I was in high school. I'm a writer. So when you write, you have your thesis statement, and then you build the argument and you come with a conclusion. That's what he was doing yesterday. He was building his argument. I don't think the clean office was the issue, because that wasn't what was talked about first. But I think that in general, to answer the question, that it takes more than just Ed Reed. And I don't think they need stitches, because stitches is when you're in a situation where the accreditation is about to come up and the school about to get closed down, which a lot of HBCUs are going through. Those are the stitches to me.
But the stitches, yeah, but that's from the school standpoint. I'm talking about stitches so far as the football program getting back to prominence in that sense. Let me ask you this. I know time was a thing, but guess what, baby? I told you we're going to have you hooked in here, man. I don't know what you got to do. I would love, if you have the time, I would love to kind of dissect and deconstruct his video if you have the time.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, I'm cool. Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right. So I have the video here, and I'll play it. And there's going to be some points in here where I may stop, and we can kind of discuss a little bit. We don't have to belabor it. We don't have to go very long. We don't have to do all those things. But I would like to just kind of talk about what's being said. I did take out all of the curse words because we do have a family-friendly show, and there's a lot of people who express that. And so you can kind of tell what they are. But, you know, for Junior sitting on the couch and y'all learning, this is for you. So, like I said, hey, man, trust me, it took a lot of work to do, but we made it happen. So let's talk about this. Let me know real quick a thumbs up if you guys can hear this clearly on there, and then we'll go ahead and jump in there. Well, go ahead. What'd you say?
I was also they could be like, Dad, what did he mean by that? Son, we're gonna talk about that when you get older. All
right, let me get a thumbs up. Let me know everything you did. All right, here we go. Look at it. This is why you can't have people. Sam Smith said, Cole, you take the curse words out, you might not have nothing left.
Right. Like, all gonna be him breathing at that point. Like he was cussing up a storm, boy. Golly. You gotta have the clean version of the video, the radio version at this point.
It wasn't worse than that WAP. But anyway, let's go.
Ron was not wrong about what he was saying. All y'all out there with y'all opinions full of crap, don't know. But needless to say, I just pulled up to work. We're gonna try to help y'all too, man, because I know a lot of HBCUs need help. I'm just here to help here first. I see it all too clearly. All our HBCUs need help. HBCUs need help. And they need help because of the people who's running it. Broken mentalities out here. I'm gonna leave y'all with that, man. I gotta get in the office. I hope y'all be blessed out there. 336, I see you, my bro. About to pull up in the office, bro. I gotta get out here. My guys already out here working. I've been here for a week and a half. I've been here for a week and a half and have done more than people that have been here in freaking years. And I'm not even hired yet. Damn shame. I holla.
All right, so before I push on to the next piece, you can hear the construction trucks back there in the background. He said, my guy, when he's like we talked about this before, but like when he said, I've done more in a week and a half than the people here, I don't think he's talking about producing doctors and lawyers from the university and scientists and physicists. I think he was talking about making these initial moves right there in particular as I look at the context of it. Would you agree or disagree with that portion based on how we look at the context of what he's saying?
I agree with it. I do.
Okay. Also, he said that it's the people that's running it with a broken mindset. Again, we don't know who he's talking about. He said the people running it. I don't know if he's necessarily talking about, he said HBCUs, but he may be talking strictly about athletics or football programs or them as a whole. I don't know. But what I can tell you is when you say people who are running it, you're talking about the upper brass. You are talking about presidents, ADs, or whoever's making decisions here. Is that fair?
I do, but then like once again, I say like who specifically is he talking about? Because I'm looking down right now. I'm looking at the athletics website, and you look and you see all of the folks, that are in athletics, administration, compliance, student athlete services. And it's like we can look through and like if they've been there for years. Because I see the first guy I'm looking at, George Bright, he at the very least he came in maybe 2017, 2018. So how long has he been there to where changes can really be made? Because I can't say he's been there for years. So who is he talking about? That's the only thing.
So to that point, I think the frustration is, and I think we're overlooking it, just simple beautification stuff. Like you've been there a week and my guys out here working. I'm already, like what I'm saying is like when Nick Saban takes a job, you think Nick Saban, they had a hurricane go through a tornado go through Tuscaloosa. Do you think at any point Nick Saban say, man, I got to cut these trees up and clear this land?
No.
Now I know there's a different money. I know there's a whole different money dynamic, but we're talking about basic things. We're talking about a storm that's over a year old. We're talking about, because you brought up the storm. I remember there was a storm, but I didn't realize maybe that's why it looked the way it looked.
Yeah.
But we're talking about things that is a year old, not 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. And what he's saying is, bro, if it's been like this since Hurricane Nicole, you telling me these trees and trash have been laying here for over a year?
But that's been months ago. But like Hurricane Ian, then Tropical Storm Nicole, that was September and then October, November. So it hasn't been a year ago. That was a few months ago.
But that's what I was asking.
Yeah, that's
but again, he comes in and say, look, I did it in a week. I've been a week and a half and I ain't even no contract and I got this cleaned up. Now, did he come out his own pocket? I don't know, whatever. But anyway, that's neither of the point. I want to go into this next phase of this video. And most people have not seen this. They only see the last maybe 50 seconds of this video. But here's where this is that morning he's going into work. I feel like I'm on the ID channel doing a CSI forensic breakdown of this deal. And here's the funny part. He's playing gospel music while he's talking in the background. That's the funny thing about
playing gospel music, cussing folks out, man, in the first video. Like, he just cussed them out on MLK Day.
He used one curse word. There was one bleep in that whole thing. But now here it goes. So now here's this later part in the day. Apparently, he gets kind of touched by apparently what somebody says. And now he's going to take you around campus. I'm going to stop this and I'll let that part play. But I want to show you little things that make big differences in people's optics. And this is where I think a lot of people are missing the point. Little things make big difference in the optics of things. I'm gonna show you little stuff.
You want to change? You want change around here?
You saw the front of the building.
Terrible.
This the back of the building. They working on the front of the building. This the same people said, we gonna help you build what you want. How I'm gonna believe you, man? How am I gonna believe them? Didn't I tell you I don't trust nobody? I'm coming over giving them the same passion and they smiling and laughing in my face. This ain't funny.
All right, that's very important. That statement right there, to me, is very important. These are the same people say they're gonna help you, and they laughing in my face. Now, again, I have to take what he's saying as factual. I can only assume right now because we don't know both sides of the story. But listen to what he says. This right here is huge, bro.
How I'm gonna believe you, man? People that have been here. You saw the front of the building.
Terrible.
This the back of the building. They working on the front of the building. This the same people said, we gonna help you build what you want.
These are the same people that said, we're going to help you build what you want.
How I'm going to believe you, man? How I'm going to believe them? Didn't I tell you I don't trust nobody? I'm coming over giving them the same passion and they smiling and laughing in my face. This ain't funny. We going to ride through the fence that they ain't fixed the fence. We about to ride through this fence. This ain't even football side. This ain't even the football side. And y'all talking about Madden at my Uncle Prime. Y'all mad at Dion, mad at Prime. This shit is every HBCU.
Now, I disagree with that statement.
I disagree too.
I disagree with that last statement of this is every HBCU. That's emotion talking. You understand? I get it. But that's very important, that very first line. How do you take that line in the sense of what he said? I'm giving y'all the same pass, y'all the same people laughing in my face.
So I'm looking at the comments. I see Shay Smith said, "Go ahead, Randall. What'd you get? Did you hear that part? You fast forward to what you want here." So I mean, I guess what I'm gonna say, people are not gonna agree with, but I just feel like who? I'm like, who, I was say, but like I was looking at the comments as I already said, but like, my thing is this. Who is laughing in his face? Who are these people? Like that's the thing, because it's like you can say, okay, people are laughing in my face because, like, I say sometimes, man, these folks playing with me. Ain't nobody really playing with me. Like, who are these people? Or is it us?
So,
Did he see what we say?
Nah, Randall, I'm gonna say this. Sometimes you talking to people and you don't have to say their name because he know this video gonna get, but they know who they are. That's the difference.
Do they?
Yeah, I guarantee they know who they are. Randall, we just met. And we talked about some stuff off the air.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say, man, I know a dude that said, there's a HBCU in Georgia, boy, they was trash. I didn't say your name. Now I'm just making this up, y'all. It's not really happening. But I'm saying, if I said that right now, me and you had this conversation. I'm talking about Randall. I'm talking about you. I didn't never say your name.
I don't know
if you said, Randall, come on now. If you said to me, hold on, if we and you had a private conversation, you were like, man, you know what? I went to Fort Valley. Man, that thing was trash, bro. Right? Man, that thing was trash. I hated every moment of it. And then I come back and say, man, you know what? I know a dude that's an HBCU alum that went to a HBCU in Georgia, and he told me that thing was trash. He wish he never went there.
In that specific example, though, so I'm not trying to be difficult. In that specific example, yes, you're talking about you'll be talking about probably the conversation that I had, but that goes to this where it's like I don't think someone said, man, listen, Bethune trash, man. I don't think someone told him that and said, see these folks. Who is he talking? That's the thing. Who is he talking about?
He knows who he's talking about, and they know who he's talking about. Trust me.
In a week.
Yes, Randall, trust me. I've been through that myself, brother. I can tell you this. I've seen dudes that I know it take a day. It only take a week. Because you know how many people would be the same ones that'll take this splash higher and be right behind your back and say, this dude don't know what he's doing. He ain't got no coaching experience. He don't know what he's doing. He gonna fail. You know how many people did that same thing to Dion? Man, dude ain't never coached no ball. I guarantee some of the same people on the hiring committee got outvoted because they didn't believe in what Dion was gonna do. Are the same ones when they drinking their bourbon, man, that dude gonna fail. But y'all, that's who y'all want. No problem. That's who y'all gonna get. And it got back. So I guarantee Ed Reed has been in the same situation. Remember, he's been on campus a week and a half. It's been 20 days. You know how many times somebody done told him, hey, boy, you better be careful for Miss Johnson, man. She ain't got your best interest at heart. And she may be the doggone treasurer. And then you go to Miss Johnson, she laughing in your face. Hey, Ed, how you doing, baby? You know I got your back. Soon as he leave. And that dude ain't finna do nothing. Bro, I'm telling you. I feel you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel you. I feel what you're saying. Yeah, I feel what you're saying, but with Ed Reed, we're giving him the benefit of the doubt because Ed Reed. Who is he talking about? Who is playing? If he told me who's playing in his face, I was like, all right, man, they playing with you. But who is he talking about?
He's not gonna do it. Yeah, but you just want to know to know. Does it matter?
Yes, it matters to me because that person then needs to be a situation where it's like, yo, this person is playing when I'm trying to make some changes, and some changes need to happen. A conversation needs to happen. Maybe Reggie Theus or someone on the board needs to talk to this person.
So guess what? They know who he's talking about. And what he said right there may just provoke the question from the interim president or maybe Reggie Theus. So, Ed, who you talking about? See, but all of those vague questions will spark the next question that's to come. Sometimes you can tell on somebody without telling on somebody to get what you want. See, there's strategic ways in which you do things. See, you got to remember, bro, he got gray, I got gray. We've been around a little bit. I ain't saying I know more than you. That's not my thing. But what I'm saying is maneuvering through politics, political arenas. This is all politics, dog. When maneuvering through these things, you got to move different. Everybody ain't Donald Trump where he just going to call your name straight out. That don't happen. Some people got to move differently to get things done. And I think that's strategic. I want to move on if you don't mind because I want to go through something else. Yeah. All right, here we go.
Bro, we riding through the fence.
First of all, there's a bullet wound in the golf cart. These are the things. I'm not a bullet wound, but what I'm saying, bro, it's cracked. Like these are the simple things that people think is small, but you won't see that, Reggie. That right there, that kind of stuff makes people believe. That little stuff like that makes people believe that HBCUs are less than. And I'm a firm believer that it's not.
It didn't take them long to think that. It didn't take them long. They already thought that.
But I'm not just talking about him. I'm talking about anybody. I'm talking about anybody who is not an HBCU person. And you just look at, see, these are little things. Like, what? I know it doesn't seem big, but why? Look at the jump box. These are the things I'm saying. Where's the pride of the track coach that the step box is in the middle of nothing? How much money does it take to put the fence back? Bro, come on. Like these, you won't see these things at other places.
Do we know that? Do we know that? That's the thing. Do we know that?
Yes. I'm not saying all places. I ain't saying Bethune is the only one.
Yeah.
But I'm also not saying that all places are like that. But these are minor fixes. These are the little things that I'm talking. These right here, the draws from your girlfriend in the middle of the floor. This kind of crap.
And this is him saying, look, y'all, there's draws on the floor. That, like, did he really need to go to social media and say that? No, right now?
But let's finish. You're right. Look at this.
This is track, bro.
This is just simple organization. Just put stuff back. You got a pole in the middle. You got a box. This is not folded up proper. These are, like you say, this is track, dog. It don't have to be the best, but you're a collegiate you're a Division I program. You're a Division I program.
This is track. This is what they practice.
Like, look at this. Just simple. I understand this is what you have. I'm not tripping about the track. But let's put the hurdles away. Let's make it look decent. That's all I'm saying, right? When you finish with your toys, what your mama told you, Reggie? Randall, put them away. Right or wrong?
Yeah, you're right. I put them away now. I did put them away. That's one thing I did do.
And these are grown people who are getting that. The coaches, you got a whole team of people. And we can't put the hurdles up. You got hurdles over there, the step boxes all over the place.
Practice on. It's a straightaway. This is intramural field. You can't practice on this. These kids got this to work with.
A pallet in the middle of the doggone high jump. Now, to your point, I'm not saying this had to be on social media. That's not what I'm saying. But since it's out there, let's dissect it. Let's look at the problem. What the F is a pallet doing in the middle of the... Now, do you hear me complaining that the grass is not green enough? No, I get it. But a pallet, dog? It looks abandoned. It's like a Walking Dead, bro.
Trash. Yeah, I'm showing it. At this point, I got to show this. I'm not even the head coach. Congratulations. Man, I should go my ass home. I said I should. I ain't. It ain't happening. Because of that lady right there. Because of her right there. Miss Mary, you see what the cane? That's what you call me. Coach Kane is who I am. Don't cry. Do something. Y'all see these buildings right here? You see these buildings right here? Y'all see these buildings right here? This corner. Y'all see this right here? This here? This is abandoned right here. They're hoarding trash in this. All this right here is trash. From this corner all the way right here is trash. You understand me?
All right, what's your thoughts on that piece, brother?
So the assertion that he doesn't have to be there, like I could be at home, that was totally not needed. And that's said out of anger. Things are said out of anger, and that's fine. But he shouldn't have said that at all. A lot of HBCU folks were upset over how he regarded Dr. Mary Bethune. The reason why we were upset is because of how she was regarded.
In what regard? What did he do wrong there?
How we look at it at HBCUs is that we have reverence in regards for our founders. We have reverence in regards for the folks that have helped in building our institutions. And it just seemed as if, like, hey, I'm here for her. Didn't even say her full name. You know, and there's like, call me Coach Kane. It felt dismissive, like to us that have that association with the history of HBCUs and also what Mary Bethune did. Like it's like I think that was what really had a lot of us upset with that portion. It wasn't like, oh, that cancels out everything, because I watched the whole video, but it just showed me that this is a self-aggrandizing rant. I feel as if he does care, because how I look at situations as people are dynamic. That's how I look at situations in life. People are dynamic. I don't think that anybody is absolutely. I think there are some people that are absolutely evil, but I don't think everyone is absolutely evil. I think that he feels as if this is the right thing to do, but it wasn't. And there should be a significant pushback saying you're not helping. You're saying that I'm gonna pat myself on the back because I can fix it, when that wasn't what we wanted from him. And this did nothing but made Bethune Cookman look as if it was the slums when there are more situations that are going on that clearly he cannot be privy to in a week and a half or within 21 days from the announcement of his hire. He can't be privy to that. He can't be privy to systemic underfunding. He can't be he clearly wasn't privy to some of the situations where there are hurricanes and natural disasters where they were trying to raise money to fix that. I'm not defending mediocrity. I want our institutions to be great. And there are HBCUs that have great facilities, different situations, and there are things that need to be fixed. But that's not how you handle it. And I just don't understand why people don't see it that way. And I want to say, that looks great, by the way. That looks great.
So to your point, I think people do understand how it was done may be particularly wrong. But now that it is out, what he said, was it wrong? I think there's a consensus to say people don't necessarily like how it was done. Of course, some people be like, yeah, I like it, I get it. And a lot of those people may not be from the HBCU cloth, right? Understanding how we protect and so forth. I can understand that. But now that we're here, that's how I'm looking at it, Randall. I get it. I'm with you on that side. I understand he should not have done it in this way. But now that we're here, what we going to do? Now that I can see, I have to say, there should not be a pallet in the middle of the doggone high jump thing. Like, I can look at that and say that, right? That's just, like, to me, as the athletic director, who should walk the campus, or the assistant AD, or whoever the hierarchy is. I don't know what the hierarchy is there. Either one or two things. Either Reggie Theus and his staff either are not doing their job by looking at campus, or whoever's in charge of that. Or two, he has done it and he don't care. He walked past it. I'm just saying, I'm not even worried about that building over there. I'm looking at, why is Reggie Theus or whoever not having a conversation with the track coach and say, Coach, we don't get down like this out here. Why the hurdle? Why they not put up? Why is the step box sitting out here in the middle of the thing? Where does pallet come from? Like, there's no, I'm just talking about, you understand me?
I do.
It's no different than your mom. It's no different than your mama open that door. Randall, why that room not clean? So now, if she never checked you about that room, then she's okay with it.
So can I say this then? Can I say that maybe the objectification of Bethune Cookman and him saying all HBCUs, which you say you disagree with, and we agree that he shouldn't have said, oh, all HBCUs have this problem. Maybe the situation now is us looking at Reggie Theus, and maybe we're looking at, can you really be the coach and the athletic director and serve two masters? Or maybe after this season, should you bring in someone else to helm the program so maybe you can curtail these issues? Like, but that can be the conversation that we're having, because there is an issue. I'm not saying it's not. I ain't defending saying, oh, this different stuff. All I'm saying is that HBCUs, and specifically Bethune Cookman, is in the line of fire when it shouldn't be, when they shouldn't be. That's all I'm saying. Because now, what does this make it look like? It makes it look like Bethune Cookman is, in Ed Reed's words, trash. That's what it makes it look like. And that's all I'm saying. Because I think that may be the conversation. And maybe we can start it here. I don't think that Reggie Theus should be doing both. I personally don't think that. I don't think he should be doing both. Because I think that you have to concentrate your forces on one thing. And then maybe situations can be handled, you know? That's how I look at it.
I get that. Boy Sam Smith say the palate is not the problem. Ed Reed is. All right.
Amen. Amen to a certain point. Because what I will say is this, in a nuanced way. What I will say, because I hear where you're coming from, and I hear where the comments are coming from. What I can say is that there are issues, and like I said, I believe that Ed Reed cares. I don't think he doesn't, and I said in my video that maybe he should leave. And when I saw his apology, and when I saw after the live, he tweeted a couple hours later, "Hell Wildcats," I believe that he has a level of care, but he didn't have tact in what he said. And I believe that he can be a facilitator of change. But what I think is that should not be the expectation of Ed Reed, because he should have the luxury of just coaching. But the reason why he doesn't have that luxury is because of several systemic factors. And sometimes it's folks aren't doing what they need to do. That's true. But there are several systemic factors that are going into him not just being able to coach. And it's not on him to do that. It does fall on the leadership. That's all I'm saying. I don't understand, for not for you saying it, but I don't understand how that's wrong for saying that, because I just don't want Bethune Cookman to be in that line of fire as the university, as the brand, or HBCUs as institutions and the brand of HBCUs, when that is specifically an issue that Bethune Cookman has and that Reggie Theus might need to handle. I
totally agree with that last part. I totally do. Let me push on. Hey, boy, these people chomping at the bit about this phone line. I don't know if you wrote that, boy, but anyway, let's go.
Hey, mutt your off here, man. What you talking about? I ain't mutt nobody. I'm trying to fix what you doing. I told you somebody ain't gonna like it, bro. I told you somebody wasn't gonna like it. Do something about it, man. Come help us clean this shit up. I could have been mutting and showing shit. I chose not to. But now I'm out here walking with the football team, picking up trash.
Right there is super important. Because you said it was a week and a half. He said I could have been mutting, meaning dragging through the mud, that kind of stuff. Like you got mudded. I know that's an old school term, like, but he said I didn't. And now I'm out here with the football team picking up trash. So basically, he may be saying, I've had those conversations, Randall. I've had these talks like, bro, what we going to do? Can y'all get this stuff done? Nah, don't worry about it. You know what I mean? I'm going to do it. Quickly, what's your thoughts? I'm going to push on there. Like I said, you want to get on the phone line, it's going to be hot now. It's going to be hot, Randall. It's going to be hot.
Hey, listen, I'm on the radio, and I have had, because I did a live stream where folks was coming at me. So, I mean, like, I don't understand how I'm so wrong. But basically, and I hear you, but basically, like, how I feel is that, like I said, I think he cares, but I just think that he shouldn't have done this, and he went about this the wrong way.
I know, but
and if he had conversations, I get it. If he had conversations, I get it. And like I said, that's something that, once again, I would say, let's say he had those conversations. Because to be honest, I don't think he did, but that's just me. And I could be wrong about that, whatever. But I don't think that we should be blaming HBCUs and saying all HBCUs. And we also should not be saying, oh, this is Bethune Cookman, like I said, as the brand, when that is Reggie Theus or the leadership that's under him. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. And that is, because that's the same thing I said with the last one. But though, like, if it was approached the right way, and I don't think it's, like I said, it should have been on social media, those are valid issues. And what you're saying is valid. But that is a Reggie Theus administration issue. That's not an indictment on FAMU. That and AD Skies is not an indictment on Fort Valley. That's not and AD Wheeler. That's not an indictment on Jackson State and AD Robinson.
I agree.
But that is where things went in this video, because there were a lot of folks that were saying that, well, see, this is why Deion Sanders left, and that is destructive.
Because he made some general statements. So yes, I totally agree with you. Here we go. Let's push on, because I want to go through this deal.
But I'm mutting us. Man, get out of here, man. I should leave. I'm not even under contract doing this. I'm mutting us. Man, get out of here, man. They mutt me. These ain't even clean my goddamn office when I got here. I'm mutting y'all. Get your man. Come on, man. Come on, man.
What's your take on this? It's gonna be a question. No, I'm saying, what's your take on this question? I have a question about what he just said.
Okay, so I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, you're fine. This is where he's starting to go off by that part. Yeah. So here's my question. He says, I'm not even under contract and I'm doing this. I guess my question is, this was back to my point about time crunches as coaches. Now, I'm not under contract. I don't know what's taking so long. Bro, they make contracts in hours, right? They can make contracts in hours. It's been 20 days since he's been announced and he don't have a contract yet. there's an issue within that to me personally. Now, I don't know if it's an Ed Reed issue, it's a school issue, but there is an issue. It takes nowhere in the world. You've been announced as the head coach and there's no paperwork. They normally don't announce you until there's paperwork done. So he's been announced officially by the university as the head coach, and he doesn't even have a contract. Now, is that because of stipulations on his part? Maybe something from the university? I don't know. That's not really my concern. But
it's deeper. Yeah, like what I'll say is that I had some conversations, and I was privy to some conversations, not like in Bethune conversations, but in my understanding of what was being said by folks that know that work in higher education, that's actually pretty customary. Is it like especially in states such as Florida? So like that there's something deeper there. And I don't even know if Ed Reed fully understands the whole entire. I'm not even under contract yet. I don't think he fully understands that. And also when it was announced, they announced that Ed Reed was the coach. So essentially they're saying almost he's the sole finalist. Like how we have a president. Hey, like, Coach Hayes is the sole finalist to be the president of Bethune Cookman University. You know what I'm saying? That's basically saying, hey, the rest of y'all, the search is over. We talking to Coach Hayes and negotiating money and different things. So essentially, he started work. Now, I don't think he's there yet.
I promise it'll be BCU be clean, but if I was
but like, I think that with that specific situation, what I can say is that they didn't say, oh, he's under contract, he's signed. They announced him, and then it was more conversations on the 27th that then started to happen. Yeah.
No, but what I'm saying is people say contract take time. Yes, but when you're talking about coaching stuff moves fast. This is not like you trying to set a contract for consultant firms. And we're talking about coaching. We're talking about guys that have to be in, go out, get recruits, do certain things. And that's why I feel like he feels like he may be under a time crunch because he's saying, listen, bro. I got recruits got to be coming up in here soon. And if I wait to get this contract done, it's going to look like this. Let me go ahead and jump in here and get this thing done, right? When most people say, man, I ain't got no contract, dog. I ain't doing nothing. Matter of fact, when y'all get the contract done, call me. I'll leave Miami then. So Sam Smith said, I don't know how many coaches do this. Coach Hayes, this is not unusual, my brother. Some work for a year without, not coaches, dog. No, not coaches. Maybe in the corporate world or whatever. I'm sorry. You can't name me one coach that doesn't have a contract. Do you know of one, Randall?
I'll be funny and say I'm just being funny, Ed Reed, but no, like outside of like I don't know. I'm being funny. I don't want people to think like I'm being funny. Like Ed Reed, we don't know what I would know, but no, I don't. And personally, I agree with you. I wouldn't have done that. Like for me, because I know that because the thing that we were complaining about is that before Ed Reed was hired is like, and this is the same thing with Morehouse, is why is it December and there's not a coach that's been hired? Because Bethune Cookman was in that situation, and also you have Morehouse that's still in that situation. They still don't have a head coach. But I think that those are things that I would have worked out before he was announced. Because I think the specter of Ed Reed would have brought in recruits and transfers anyway. So I'm going to make sure everything is all squared away and we're ready to announce. Because we got to remember and I know it was MLK Day, school just let back in. But when we have the introductory press conference, like all this has happened before the introductory press conference, So
because it's not official.
It's not official. So that's something that I agree with. I wouldn't have announced him without being signed and sealed, because something in the 11th hour would have gone through. Whereas I'm not coming. You know what I'm saying? Now it looks real crazy because now you get a PR hire, and someone said this, you got a PR hire, and now you're in a situation where you got to handle that,
Yeah, that's interesting right there. Jerry Kill, I actually know Coach Jerry Kill, man, says he'd handle without a contract for New Mexico State without a year. That's interesting. I would love, please send me the article, put it in there. I'll look it up. But anyway, I don't want to spend time on that, but that'd be interesting to find out about Jerry Kill. Yeah, I would love to find that information. Let's push on. And the reason I say Ed Reed did what he did right here is because sometimes people, man, just get the job done. Let's just get the job done. I'm not worried about the logistics right now. I'm here to just get the job done. But then, it's one of them things where you go above and beyond, and your boss come and be like, instead of being appreciative, it's more dismissive. Like, I've had a principal do that. I go above, you go a little bit above and beyond, and you be like, hey man, can I get X, Y, and Z, or can I get this done, or whatever the case may be? Oh, nobody asked you to do that, coach. All right, no problem. You right. I apologize, sir. And then that's when you create a monster. But let's push on.
All this here was trash in front of me. Who you think got this?
See that bulldozer right there? I don't know where it came from. I don't know if it was on campus. But that's a bulldozer right there. I don't know if he went and rented it himself. They had it on campus, whatever. But he's getting it done. He's cleaned it out, like he said.
Cleared out. That building right there got trash in it. It's trash. What are you talking about? You need no goddamn donors to come out and help out, because people just want money. That's why I don't f with social network. Get out of here, man.
He don't rock with social networks, but that man was on Instagram Live twice, 24 hours. Okay.
Oh God. Hey, the ending was the best for me though, bro.
It was no. That was that like after I caught, because I will admit, but a lot of people say, "Oh, you're emotional, this and that." Yeah, I was upset because I really care about HBCUs. I really do. So I was very upset. Like when I saw that video. Yeah,
you sound like me and Dion. My first video with Dion, I'm hot. I'm giving him the business.
Yeah, because, and there's nothing wrong. I feel like when people say, "Oh, you're emotional," like there's nothing wrong with having a level of emotion over something you're passionate about. Because I'm passionate about HBCUs. But when I sat back and I listened to that part, that was for the funny. I was like, man, Ed Reed, my gosh, man, you a trip.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. So we looked at it. I don't know if this is something you want to do. You're more than welcome. We can open the phone line for a few minutes here. There's some people chomping at the bit to get to it, and we can definitely make it happen, man. Let me pull these deals over.
And I'm gonna have to go in a second, but let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
One or two calls, if you don't mind. Yeah, hey, thank you for hanging on with me even longer than you did, man. Because
of course,
I know you said I got like 15 minutes. So whatever next appointment that was, tell him Coach Hayes say he's sorry.
Hey, listen, the comments want me gone, man. Like, listen, I'll be going in a second. It's fine. I'll be going in a second.
Somebody say, what's the number? I'm gonna put it up in a second, DMT. I'm gonna put it up here in a second. Give me 1 second, DMT. I gotta open up the app and all that good stuff first. It's coming. I wasn't expecting to do it.
Yeah, I'm not running. I'm here. What's up? I'm here. I'm not running. I'm here. What's up? I'm running. I'm not running. I'm here. I don't run from nothing. Let's get it.
You good, baby? Let's get it, baby. You good?
Hey, I'm reading the comments right now. What's up?
Oh man, they live. Here go to comment. Here go to phone line right now. The phone number is that's the wrong number. Hold up. 321-328-8235. You see it right here. I don't know if it's big enough. You're more than welcome to call in 321-328-8235. More than welcome to call in to my man Randall Barnes from HBCU Pulse. He'll give you all the information. I'll put it in the description as well. We got a new call calling in. We got a 346 area code. Caller, talk to us. Give us your name, where you're calling from, and what's your thoughts.
What's going on, Coach Hayes? This Denzel, aka DMT Zell.
All right, I've been looking at your comments, DMT. All right, talk to me, man.
Yeah, I got smoke for Randall, man. I got smoke for him.
You got what?
Not gonna lie.
Hold on, you got what? Hold on.
Smoke for him.
Yeah, smoke. Yeah, smoke for me.
You want smoke? We want all the smoke.
Can you hear me?
I hear you. He said he want all the smoke. Let's get it.
Now, look, man, I respect HBCU grads. I respect the hell out of the HBCU community. My girlfriend graduated from Southern University. She currently goes to Texas Southern. But there's a reoccurring theme that I have a problem with a lot of HBCU grads and people in that community. And one of the reasons that turned me off of going to an HBCU, particularly Texas Southern, because that's where I wanted to go. But I think there's way too many excuses being made for this type of stuff. I heard Randall in his last hour gives so many excuses on little things. And he used that key word that I always hear and it's really annoying me to hear. Systemic. Ain't nothing systemic about making sure your campus is clean. That ain't got nothing to do with no white man, no underfunding, anything. That's pride. Get out there, get some people, and clean up your school. Clean up the track area. Why is there a pallet in the track? Like Coach Hayes was pointing out. Why is it there's just presentation things that I don't think they understand. Like me, I go to University of Houston, right? I could have went to Texas Southern. But one of the things you'll learn because the University of Houston and Texas Southern are right across the street from each other. But if you look at the Texas Southern side and the UH side, it's night and day. Texas Southern doesn't keep their side as clean as UH does. You walk on the campus, it looks gloomy. It's right in the heart of the third ward. Yeah, UH is in the third ward as well, but it's not the same. Me personally, after listening to this conversation, if I'm a top recruit, if I'm a top 100 parent, a top 100 recruit, why would I send my child to HBCU if this is the quality you think they deserve? If you think they deserve to walk on a track like that, if you think they deserve to practice on a field like that as a top 100 player, where they can go to Alabama, where they can go to Miami and be taken care of. If they come to your school, they coming for charity and in the name of being black. I think HBCUs should take more pride and not make it about being black. They should make it to where you're going to come get a great experience and have great facilities to go with it. But it's like they want people to come there and do charity work. They gave so much flack to Deion Sanders. Oh, Deion didn't do this. Deion didn't do that. Even though the man came out of his own pocket. Now, it may be some things I'm not privy to because I hear a lot of guys say, well, everything Deion said isn't true. He didn't do this. He didn't do that. You can say what y'all want. I'm from the North. I grew up right outside Chicago. I didn't know nothing about Jackson State, a lot of these HBCUs until I seen Prime because we don't have HBCUs up north. They don't have HBCUs out west. Right now, it's a regional thing. The only people that care about HBCUs really is people that live in the Southeast. It's a regional thing. If you wanted to go national, these are the little things you got to start caring about.
All right, DMT.
Because I guarantee you, a UAB coach, a coach at the FCS level, you use Nick Saban, Coach Hayes. I wouldn't have used that. I would have used UAB, ULL. You think Billy Napier is going to go to a school and his office not clean? You think they're going to tolerate that?
I totally agree, but I want to give him a chance to respond.
Go ahead, go ahead, bro.
No, you're fine.
Ahead,
I just want to say one thing. You're right. That's difference. There is a big difference from the regional standpoint of growing up, maybe in HBCU, Ohio, so forth and so on. But there's a difference as you grow up and go to these classics, all these different deals. There's a couple of things I disagree, but I'm gonna let Randall go ahead. You take the wheel on this, and I'll go ahead. I'll just kind of moderate it. Go ahead.
So how I look at it is this, right? So you say you want to go to Texas Southern. So my question would be, how am I making excuses? Like what are the excuses that I'm making? Because there are systemic things that are going on with HBCUs. Now, I'm not saying the cleaning situation is systemic, but there are systemic inequities that were exacerbated by the natural disasters when it comes to underfunding. I don't understand how that's an excuse. That's just the truth.
When he was pointing out to you and saying, look at this, he showed you on video, he's like, look at that hole in the fence, look at that pallet. And you proceeded to say, well, I agree, there are some systemic things going on that prevents the school from doing certain things. And I'm just saying, I don't think that's systemic. I think that's pride. And I think, and maybe I may be biased in this, because I don't want to put a whole cast over HBCU people in the whole community. I don't want to do that. But I do talk to a lot of HBCU people because I got a lot of HBCU friends. I'm a black guy. I'm a black guy. I know a lot of people that go to HBCUs, and there's this elitist attitude, especially for people that choose to go to PWIs. I'm going to be real with you. I didn't know what the hell a PWI was until I met HBCU people. To me, it's just a regular university.
That's fair.
I never heard of the PWI label.
It's
new. I got around HBCU.
That's something new.
Oh, you go to PWI.
I ain't gonna
lie. That's the university.
To be honest with you, brother, that's something I've learned.
Call it that.
Yeah, that's something I've learned.
That's our own little buzzword that y'all use in y'all community, right?
Well, no, but that's something I learned.
Call it PWI, just university.
Yeah, because that's something I learned probably in the last 2 or 3 years. I hadn't heard that either until, like I said, the past 2 or 3 years. But go ahead, man. I'm gonna go ahead because I got a few more callers calling in. I know he has to run.
Yeah, I don't want to be long with it, but I'm just saying it's just certain things. I think there needs to be an overhaul in the way operations is run in a lot of these HBCUs. I think they also need to care more about sports. because I always hear about this underfunding from the state, et cetera. There's a city, school everywhere in every state in America that's going to complain about them not getting funded. I remember my high school specifically, that the state owed us over $3 million. When I was in high school, we didn't get we had shitty facilities, field was shitty, everything was bad. Now it's improved, they got the money, but I'm saying most of these Power 5 Division I schools are relying on their sports programs to give them funding. And I think HBCUs need to care more about sports and put money into that and find other ways of revenue instead of complaining every year about underfunding. And I get that it's the issue. I saw it. I know that if you compare it by state and school, that, hey, at UT Austin, they getting $15,000 per student, and at Texas Southern, they probably get like $9,000 per student. I get it. I get there's a lot of issues.
So DMT, listen real quick.
But what are the solutions? I hear this every year from the same people. We're underfunded.
DMT, listen real quick. That's where some systemic stuff comes into play. There's another thing, just simple math. I'm going to say this. I don't know the exact numbers. Most of your HBCUs are private, therefore they cost a lot of money. And we also don't have the same enrollment as University of Houston. I guarantee if you go look at Houston's enrollment, hold on. If you see Houston's enrollment versus Texas Southern's enrollment, probably quadrupled, right? That's one.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. So therefore you have a lot more alumni coming out over periods of time, a lot more money being put back over periods of time, right? When you look at these bigger schools, and again, I don't know the enrollment. Somebody can look it up real quick or whatever the case may be. A lot of them, but that right there is bigger than saying they don't care about sports. And the reason I say that is because I think they do care about sports, but you have to also remember this: a university president, first priority is the university, not the sport. Have you ever heard a university president get fired because their team went 1-11? Now, I'm not talking about a scandal.
No, that's not.
I'm talking about a bad record. Because if that's the case,
right,
the dude from Colorado should have been fired years ago. Now,
I agree. That's on the athletic director. It ain't got nothing to do with the president.
I understand. So that's my point. So when it comes to people allocating funds, look at that. The University of Houston has 45,000 students enrolled right now. Right?
Indeed.
Okay. And Texas Southern enrollment, it's quick, it's 10,000. I just told you it's quadruple. That's my point. So the amount of dollars and stuff that come in is way different. And so that's a whole nother conversation. But I do think they care about it. But to your point, and maybe to my point, it's just a simple optics.
Real quick, though, I want to throw this in there real quick because I also like Prairie View A&M. I went to Prairie View A&M's campus, and they have one of the most beautiful campuses I've ever seen out of HBCUs, right? And I know people have said, well, they're under Texas A&M, right? They say they're under Texas A&M. But I saw it more of a pride thing, right? You go to Prairie View A&M campus, it's clean. The fields look nice. You can tell they care. I don't see that in a lot of other HBCUs I've been to. And I've been around. I've been around the South. I live in Texas. I used to live in Georgia. I used to live in Tennessee. So I've been around the place. I've been to Alabama State. You know, I've been to Grambling. I've been to Southern. I've been to Clark, Atlanta. To Morehouse. I've seen all of them, and I've gotten to get a good glimpse in being able to kind of differentiate what I'm seeing, and I see a common thing, and a lot of it's just pride. So I just wanted to come on here and say to Brother Randall, we got to be able to hold them accountable because I heard a lot of excuses and caping today, and I think until we start holding these people accountable to the administration, the misappropriation of funds, we can't really have a conversation because y'all mad at Dion and Ed Reed for them getting mad and saying what they're saying. We really should be looking at, okay, what are they saying? Is there validity to it? Is there misappropriation of funds? Is there some mismanagement going on? Is there some bad operations going on? We got to attack that. We can't keep saying, well, y'all can't say this in public. You shouldn't go to social media.
Right.
They probably said it in private and they didn't get the message through. You know how black folks is. You got to yell in their face sometimes. You got to make a scene for them to get the message. And that's what they're doing. So I don't blame them. That's all I want to say.
Thank you, man. Rebut that. If
y'all brothers have a great day. I don't want to take up too much of your time.
You good, man. You good. Thank you, brother. Go ahead, Randall, if you like to rebut that as we wait for the next caller.
So what I want to say is that there are, and the number, you know, it always in flux. There's 101 HBCUs. I consider there's 101 HBCUs. There are 52 public and 49 private. So the margin is really close, but there's more public HBCUs than private. HBCU in itself is a federal designation that was given to HBCUs by the Higher Education Act of 1965. I always get the year mixed up, 64, 65, where institutions that were created before 1964 were deemed HBCUs. So one thing that I actually have not workshopped this publicly, but HBCU itself, it's a thing, but it's a federal designation, and it gives federal protection as well as it gives federal allocation of money and dollars. The thing that becomes systemic is the fact that there's a state level, you have local, state, and federal government. The state does not correctly distribute and appropriate money to HBCUs, and they distribute more money to a University of Georgia, for example, than they do at Fort Valley, and Albany State, or Savannah State, and Albany State in Georgia has more students per capita than Savannah State and Fort Valley. Now, granted, Savannah State, Albany, Fort Valley is a smaller institution, but Albany State and Savannah State, they're about neck and neck as far as enrollment, but Albany State merged with Darden. That's the problem. That's what makes it systemic. And when we're talking about money, we're not talking about $3 million. We're talking about billions of dollars. We're talking about billions of dollars for those state HBCUs. So that is systemic. That's not $3 million. That's not, Deion Sanders drops $3 million and Jackson State good. There's billions of dollars that the state has not been allocating to HBCUs. So it is systemic. And then when you look at the issues, they're not excuses. It's just the truth. When you look at the issues that go on, when we're talking about the cleanup of campus, if you don't have the funds to clean up the campus, things are going to look bad. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm not trying to talk crazy or anything like that. And I understand what DMT was saying. I do understand what he was saying, but I'm not trying to create excuses for Bethune-Cookman or any HBCU, because at the end of the day, there are issues that are there. But systemic underfunding, because of the racist system that we're in, is a problem. And I'll just give this plug here. That's why we got to vote at the state level. Because if we vote at the state level and we get state legislators in that went to HBCUs or that will advocate for us, we can then get that money. But at least for the state schools, and then also private schools get money too.
I totally agree. We got a call on the line who has been blowing it up. I'm glad they got in. But before I take that, BC says Bethune cost $30,000 with room and board, and the campus looks like that. No excuse. Yes and no. I get it. But they only got 3,000 students.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of money. Like you have to think about that. Yes, individually, 30,000 is a lot per year. But it's only 3,000 students at the school, and every student is not paying 30,000, right? There's athletic scholarships that they're eating. There's other scholarships that they're eating. So it's not a lot of money. And I know that there was, like you talked about monies. And again, I don't know all of the background and nuances of it, but I know that Tennessee State's president was just on with the Congress, and they're being held out of $500 million right now. Mm-hmm. That can do big things. But that's that. I want to get this call on 770 area code. Caller, talk to us. Give us your name, where you're calling from, and what's your thoughts for Randall. You done did all this. You ain't got nothing to say? 770. Come on. There you go.
Hello, Coach Hayes. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Who am I speaking with?
This is Lexus from Atlanta.
Lexus, you called in. Happy New Year.
I've talked to you since 2022.
I don't think so. Happy MLK Day, but I think you're calling back. So, Lexus, talk to us. What's your thoughts?
I'm calling back. Listen, I want to say something really quick off cuff, as they say, that I was a little upset with you about. You had a broadcast not too terribly long ago, and you talked about the championship game, and you had a brother on that was evidently an Ohio State alumni fan, whatever he was. And I was listening to that, and he kept talking about how Ohio State only lost the game because they missed that field goal at the last minute. I'm like, was he watching the whole game? Did he know that Georgia missed 2 field goals? Not one.
Well, Lex,
2 field goals.
Lex, just know this.
The course of the game.
Lex, hold on, Lex.
I said, boy, I'm gonna put him like my granddaddy used to tell me. If and but was candies and nuts, we all have a Merry Christmas. I'm like, so if we gonna talk about if USC would have taken care of their business, Ohio State wouldn't have even been in the playoffs because they got their butt kicked so bad by Michigan State. Let's talk about that here.
Well, how about that, Lex? We're gonna if that. We're gonna if that on another show.
Is again, okay.
But just Lex, know this. I slapped him up for you. I let him know. So I slapped him around for you.
Okay.
All right. So talk to us about.
We're gonna get to this.
We're gonna get to this. Let's go. Because Randall got to run.
I really think I'm not here to bash Randall because I do think Randall was making a lot of excuses because of his love for HBCU. I'm just gonna say that. We do it all the time. I make excuses. I got 7 nieces and nephews that I kill you over. I make excuses for them. One of my loves for UGA is because I've always loved them because I'm from Atlanta, but I love them even more now because I have a nephew that's an alumni, a UGA alumni. So that makes me love them even more now. So I'm gonna make even more excuses for them. So we do that. I will say this about Ed Reed. I think Ed Reed is just frustrated. And do we have the frustration well? No, we don't. We get mad, we say stuff, and now that this new social media thing out there, a lot of people take to it and say a lot of garbage that they shouldn't say. Lord knows social media was not created for that. But the people that have founded it, that's making all these billions of dollars off of it, they don't care what you say no more. You know, you can get on there and say anything, and they good with it pretty much. So I do think we just kind of need to calm down, take a chill pill a minute, and maybe Ed Reed should probably take a break and just come off social media for just a minute because he need to calm down. Because I saw nothing but frustration when you put video. Just mad, just upset, mad. And like I say, there's some things that probably happened in the background that you and I or Randall are not privy to and don't know what was going on. So we speaking with half truth and half information, like we always do when we get on these shows, because we're not there.
That's true.
So we don't know what has happened and what has went on. I do want rather to slow down with the excuses because I'm like my mama. My mama's like, wherever you show out, that's where you get your butt whooped. And so I understand though, Randall, at the same time, Randall, I do understand because at the same time, I've been guilty of it. I've had to hit myself in the mouth and say, stop making excuses just because that's your nephew, just because that's your whatever, your school. I'm a Spelman graduate, so I'm an HBCU. So I'm in-house, okay? So I get it. Don't tell me no, I don't know nothing about it because I went there. And I had a niece that followed me and went there as well. And we've all had issues.
Yes,
we've
ma'am.
all had problems. Thank God some of them didn't get to social media. I thank God some of them didn't get to social media.
Right.
But that we've had to resolve and we've had people come in and do things. But to your point, Coach Hayes, I will give you this as I hang up this phone and say, the stuff that you were talking about at the and you was pointing out, I was trying to tune out Ed Reed because he was just mad. I was just trying to tune him out and listen to your point as you stopped the video. So thank you for doing that because that gave me some good information out of the whole thing to see why he probably was so frustrated. Some of that stuff is inexcusable. Sometimes you just stop trying to make, as my mother used to always say, stop trying to make sense out of nonsense. And I think Rhonda was trying to do a little bit of that, and we don't need to do that.
Okay.
So things that can be done that don't take $1 million, okay? That don't take somebody coming in and dropping down thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars. Let's do those things.
Yes, ma'am.
And let's get Ed Reed to calm down and hope he get his contract and coach this team and hope they be the better for it. Bethune Cookman is the better for it.
There you go. Hope. Lexi, thank you so much. I told you I'm going to make you a fan. You keep hanging around. You're going to be like, Coach, I'm a fan. You take it easy.
You got a lot of work to do now. I love you.
And guess what? Guess what? In the words of Ed Reed, get to work. I'm finna get to work.
I didn't know where you were going with that one now because Ed Reed said a lot. I didn't know where you were going with that one. He said a lot. Like what part of the video we gonna quote?
Try to respond to that, man, before you go, or you have to go, and I would give Shad his love, man. But go ahead and respond to that before I give Shad his love.
I just don't believe that I'm making excuses. I just feel as if, and I know that what I will admit is that there's a level of sensitivity when you're in it that you have. And, you know, she's in as well. She's a Spelman grad, but I just don't believe I'm making excuses. I believe that there are issues that need to happen. And I want it to be clear in what I'm saying. I think that Bethune Cookman should not be in the line of fire. Like I said, if we want to have a conversation, maybe we should have the conversation about Reggie Theus giving up the position of being the head basketball coach. Not because maybe he's not good, but because there are other things that need to be managed. Maybe that's the situation. I'm not saying that Bethune Cookman gets off scot-free, but All I'm saying is that first and foremost, Ed Reed didn't need to do that. Number one, Ed Reed didn't need to go to social media with that. And I believe that this is not a castigation. Almost like what DMT was saying, this isn't a castigation of all HBCUs because it's not an excuse. Because a lot of people have been saying that recently. It's not an excuse. You can't get around underfunding. You can't donate your way around that. And that's something that we can do something about if we vote. If we vote to make things happen. But
right, here's why I think the disconnect, I think, between even myself and you, which I understand, and I think the crowd and the fan base. I think the disconnect is, I think you are focused on how he said it. And everybody else is focused on what he said. And I agree, I understand where you're coming from. Like, I think the disconnect, you're focused on, he went out there, he blasted this, and therefore those words will affect the overall HBCU school itself as BCU and the culture of HBCU in the community. And where I think the disconnect, this is just me talking as I listen, when most people are saying, okay, listen to what he's saying and not how he said. Because there's an old saying, as Lex always said, my mama said, listen to what people say instead of how they say it, right? Yes, there's a way to talk about that. But as I listen to what he's talking about, and I ignore how he's saying it with the passion, with the tone and the aggression and the curse words, and I'm listening to the actual words that are coming out of his mouth, I'm listening to her point, a guy that's frustrated, but I'm listening to the things he's talking about. And I'm not taking them literally in that sense, as he's done more for people in HBCUs in a week and a half than they've ever done. I think he's specifically talking about that particular moment, meaning I cleaned up this area and I've only been here a week and a half, and these people have been here 2 years and it looked like this. I think that's where the disconnect is. Not that he's affected the next astrophysicist to come out of Bethune Cookman. No, I don't believe that's what he's saying. I think we're taking that literal versus figuratively speaking, or literally speaking overall versus literally at that. I think he's talking in the moment, and I think you're talking more in the movement. Maybe I may be wrong or not. Real quick before I get to the last caller, like I say, let me know when it's ball game for you, because if not, Coach Hayes will ride out. Shad,
okay.
Okay. Anything the government takes care of will always be underfunded, from WIC, Medicare, education, etc. That's the real issue. Too much government intervention. Yeah, I agree with that, Shaq. There's also a difference when they owe you $500 million, and you think here's a perfect parallel. Since y'all be busting me about my analogies, if Tennessee State knows that they're supposed to get $500 million from the government, and they start allocating those funds, and then the government comes back and holds $500 million. How can I put programs in place when the money's being held up? So now, do we have a private conversation with the senator, or do I go out there and stand on the Congress steps and be like, Congressman such and such didn't release this, and that's why, like, those, it's the same parallel in my eyes, meaning, look, I had this conversation, y'all promised me this is what I'm ready to do, I'm here, and it's not happening. I'm gonna leave that blank, that's rhetorical. I'm gonna get to the caller. 404 area code, caller, talk to us, give us your name, where you calling from.
Yes, sir. My name's AK, calling from Atlanta.
AK, talk to me. What's up with you, baby?
Yes, I saw Coach Ed's video, and it sounded like the brother was frustrated. Cause like you said, and like the brother on the panel saying, Randall, it's almost like two different conversations. Yeah, we know the government ain't gonna kick in like they supposed to, but on the other hand, the presidents and the admins of these schools, they can't have a sense of entitlement because they've been there for years and ain't nothing changing, but they still getting paid. You're still charging these young kids the tuition fees. People stealing money. We down here in Atlanta, Morris Brown is shut down because the president and people was taking the money from the government, stealing. Kids can't go to class. There's a bunch of different schools where the kids paying their money, can't get housing, but they pay their full tuition. So what's going on with that? Then you got the athletic. It's a blessing to have Coach Prime and Ed, these brothers come back to give back. How you don't even clean the man's office? Come on, man. That's the first. Forget the field. You can't even clean the man's office. But then we see brothers come in with the money and we expect people to come in and save us, but we ain't doing nothing while we there.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So I wish to God, because we do got the best athletes. All the big teams know all the athletes come from our communities.
Mm-hmm.
That's undeniable.
Sure.
But when our leadership get better and take care of our people that's trying to go to these schools, till the government can step up and do what they got to do, we stuck.
All right, brother.
And it's just sad, man.
I appreciate your call, man. Thank you so much, man, giving those points. I'll let Randall respond to that how he chooses. But no, I think what you said is fair, man. But thank you so much for calling in, man.
No problem. God bless.
Thanks.
How I respond to that is that here's what I'll say. We are all in agreement that his office should have been clean. And I'll make that clear. I'm not making excuses at all. I don't think I'm making excuses at all, but I'll say this demonstrably. The office should have been clean. There's no excuse to make about that. But I think that we are splitting hairs in talking about the office being clean versus the delivery of the message and the time that he's been there and if he truly understands those issues. And I want to go back to when you asked me about the procedure to go about it. I thought I answered the question. I mean, I just feel as if he shouldn't have gone to social media. I feel like in situations,
it was more what the question really was. You said at that point you can go to social media, and then so my response was, what should the message be on social media? You were saying after you've exhausted all avenues of getting things done.
Yeah.
Then he said, yeah, you may have to go to social media. So then, therefore, my next question was, when I said you are now him, what would your message be on social media? That's why I started talking about screaming from the mountaintop. What I'm saying is, what would you say if you had your phone in front of you, being diplomatic and being politically correct? Hey, I'm on social media, but what does that message look like where you're not bashing HBCUs, but I do want to bring some national, maybe global awareness to a dire thing that's going on right here on this campus. I'm not holding you to a perfect speech, but I'm just saying, what is the
a part of me is like, whenever I do this stuff, I read the comments. That I'm really responding to DNT because and I think another person is like, oh, he didn't explain it. I just thought I did because like how I look at it is that for me, to be honest, and here's one thing, I don't know. I will say that I don't know how to tactfully handle that because I will admit that I look at things through the lens of I don't want to sully our HBCUs. So I'll admit that. Okay. Like, because if that wasn't the answer that I said before, I don't know. Like if y'all feel that wasn't the answer, I feel it was, but I don't know. You know what I mean? Because I feel as if there are ways to tactfully handle situations. And I don't think me saying I don't know invalidates my argument. I think that's just telling the truth. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. And in that instance. But I just felt he's not gonna have to deal with that because I think he's Ed Reed, and then they're gonna make things happen for him. And it's been a week and a half. That's what I'm saying.
And now we got that. Now I totally get that. I get it's been a week and a half.
Yeah.
Ed Reed, give him a chance. I get that part. The cut $2,009 $5. This is what you get when a person who is rich will give it to you real. A lot of these coaches and professors are quiet because they need a check. Now, that's the gift and the curse of getting a guy like this, right? Getting a guy who's not afraid of being fired because he technically financially doesn't need this job. He may want the job, but doesn't need the job. You are now dealing with a guy who will do, and if you follow Ed Reed in any aspect of life, he is outspoken. He may not be loud and boisterous, but he does speak his mind. Now that I know about him from even when he was at the Baltimore Ravens to whatever. He may not be as flamboyant as Dion and all in your face, but he does speak his mind. Now that I'll have to say.
Yeah, he does.
And so there you go. That's to your point, right? Maybe that's what I asked you about being cautious. When you have someone that financially you can't scare them about a job, they have a tendency to say, guess what, bro? Like, I'm going to say what I need to say to get the job done. But that's that. I'm gonna make one phone call here. I'm gonna let you go because I didn't plan on being on that long either. But I tell you, these shows are fun.
This is fun, yeah.
Listen, I told you, Randall. Yeah, we have a good time. I tell you, we're gonna have a good dialogue. We're gonna go back and forth, and it's all gonna be fun, man. But now we're doing this phone lines, but let me tell you something. I got to call a good friend of mine. He's actually one of my co-hosts. He wants to speak about this. He's a Tennessee State grad. He's a Tennessee State grad. T is for
Blue.
Tennessee. STATETETASTE. T.
Big Blue.
Tennessee.
You know, first
Big Blue.
the T, you know, first the T, F, you go Big Blue. What's up, my brother?
What's up, man? Talk to us, baby. You got to speak up a little bit for us, though. Go for it.
Hey, so listen. Hey, the brother brought us some great points on the talent, right? Awesome points. Let me just say this. The money, the funding is a huge issue that cannot be glossed over. People don't want to say, okay, but we're worried about things on the surface instead of things below the surface. What Ed Reed should have been doing was talking about the lack of funding that we are owed from the state. Not only TSU, up here in Maryland, we won a lawsuit, Coffin State, Morgan State. Who else was it? Bowie? The government owes us $400 million, and they have not written that check yet. That's number one. Number two, I love Ed Reed. I'm happy you took the position, but we call this Hell Week. And if Deion Sanders didn't point out to you what was going on, this is the reality of some of our colleges, right? So they blasted Deion for not doing what he said he was going to do. This is the reality. Now, for me, I understand what he's saying. He's right, but the way he presented it was wrong, right? The profanity-laced thing, I thought was absolutely wrong. And so for me, now he gets a chance to see what's going on at HBCU. You know what I mean? So I love Ed. I think he'll do well. But guess what? Deion had to grind. So he thought that he was going to come into Bethune and they were going to lay out the red carpet for him. That's a negative. Right? Bethune is not perfect, and they will rise. Like other HBCUs, they're going to rise. Okay? Hey, you gotta do some leg work. That's the bottom line.
Appreciate you, dog.
For sure.
All right, baby. All right, my man 12. He went our co-host, man, on the Canes talking and everything else, man. That's my brother from another mother, man. But like you say, I think you have valid points. I think we're both telling truths, but I think we're splitting hairs about we're on the same we're on the same track with two different trains. I think that's really what it is. We're on the same track, but we're on two different trains, and we're trying to say it's the same thing. But I think it's one in the same, man. We got another caller, 786. You're going to be the last one for the night. We getting out of here at 2 hours and 30 minutes. I don't know how long you do your shows, but baby, we could roll over here.
I did it one time, like 2 hours and 30, almost 3 hours, so I'm used to it.
Randall, I do an 8-hour takeover show for the Hurricane. We do 8 hours straight, baby. I give it in.
Man, that's different now. That's a little bit different. That's a little bit different.
Hey, that's that old school here, Randall. That's them young boy. Y'all be ready to punch the clock. Nah, baby, we get to work over here. I guess they hung up. But anyway, I'm gonna take one more call for you, man. Here it is. I'll take this last call and then we out of here, man. All right, caller, you the last caller tonight. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for calling. Give us your name, where you calling from, and what's your question or comment?
Hi, Coach. How you doing?
Wait a minute. Stop what you're doing.
Let's get the obvious stuff out of the way. We're all here to do what we're all here to do. Because you didn't come here to make the choice. You've already made it. You're here to try to understand why you made it. I thought you'd have figured that out by now.
This is the Oracle. She is on the line. You may not know who this is, but let me tell you something. Your brain is about to be dazzled. Talk to us, please, Miss Wilcox.
Well, hi.
Hi.
You're supposed to have Ray Lewis Bethune Cookman, but he didn't take the job. So you had to wait it out because Ed Reed was working with the Miami Hurricanes. You got your man, but the hurricane came through. Where's the funds? He's trying to hint to you, where's the funds? He know what he's talking about. He's trying to open y'all eyes. Now, what you saying about him, he about all what he can do, but his money is not coming out when the governor of the state of Florida up those funds to your university. Y'all need to find the funds because that's a state and a private university during a hurricane time. Got a lot of money. You all need to sit back and let him take control because he's not going to do what Deion Sanders do. This man was born to bring it like the ocean, and he knows where the fun is. He already told you, I don't trust you. And when he told you, I don't trust you, he knows what's the fun and what time it got released. That's what a Miami Hurricane do. He's got the degree. He's a Hall of Famer, and he's been there in that deal a long time past Deion Sanders' time. Every is a leading man. Deion Sanders stayed only so much of a short time because of he couldn't stop messing around with so many draws. This man is a clean man, okay? Know the difference. What you saying is wrong about this coach. He knows the fun is there. They need to up it because this woman, whoever he's talking about, I don't know if she's in the spirit, I don't know if she's dead, but he wants those funds from DeSantos. He is the governor of Florida, but the president have that money. He needs to up it, okay? Don't sugarcoat this man. He can't go many other places, but he decided of this lady that he keeps talking about, Mary, that's her name, because I can see it in the dark. I read his spirit through his spine and a death of her. I don't know if she's dead or alive, but he's on a mission, okay? And he will get past this, but you all got to stand with him because that money's there, and y'all kids are being denied more money than what's on the table. And I'm out.
Just wave your hand, Randall.
All right.
Just wave your hand. Just wave your hand. Bye, Ms. Wilcox. She don't play. That's the oracle, dog. She's the oracle of the channel. That's the mother of the channel. Listen, don't try to figure it out. You might give yourself a stroke. But when you ride in the car tomorrow, it's going to hit you like a ton of bricks. I promise you. I promise you.
Okay.
I promise you. It's like Neo, bro. You're not going to figure it out. I'm telling you. You're not going to figure it out.
I got you.
Just go with it, bro. That's all I'm saying. Listen, we out of here, man. We have over 500 people in the chat over this thing. I think we got almost just about short of 700. Really appreciate it. As you see my producer down here, Ellen says, oh, snap, Randall, you in trouble now. She's going to give it to you. Ms. Wilcox don't play the radio.
So.
She don't take tea for the fever either, man. But all I'm going to tell you this is, trust me. But I believe Ms. Wilcox, he was speaking about Mary McLeod Bethune, which is the founder of Bethune Cookman University. He was saying Mary, and that's what Randall was referring to earlier about the way in which he addressed her. So I totally understood.
Yep.
But I want to say this, man. I appreciate you, brother. I think hopefully we got a friendship here, man. We literally met less than an hour of the show. The algorithm kicked you my way as I'm doing research. I'm like, man, who's this brother? He's talking. I like what you had to say. As they say, man, articulate about your points. In that sense, I thought that my audience would enjoy it. Hopefully you picked up some subscribers out of this, and I will put your information in the description. But as it's been going on, the producer Ellen has been dropping your Twitter feed and your Twitter handle as well as your show handle and everything else in the comment section. So go check them out for all your HBCU Pulse needs, and I'll let people know where to find you or whatever the case may be, and we'll wrap this deal up.
Most definitely. First of all, I want to say thank you for bringing me on. One thing that I said to start the year is that I want to sort of be booked on more shows and have more appearances talking about HBCU. So I think this is great. This is my second one. So this is amazing. But of course, you can follow HBCU Pulse on Instagram and YouTube at HBCU Pulse. YouTube has the @ feature now, so at HBCU Pulse, or type in HBCU Pulse on YouTube. Twitter and TikTok, the HBCU Pulse. Instagram, we're very active on there. And of course, we just premiered the Sirius XM radio show, HBCU Pulse Radio, on Sirius XM channel 142, HBCU. I want to just say this. The episode that's going to air this Friday at 5 p.m. was recorded last week before this whole entire situation. And when y'all hear it, I'm actually shooting Ed Reed some bail. I said, listen, like don't try to heap so many large expectations on him. Give him time to build, a roster and a team. So if y'all listen on Sirius XM next day on podcast and YouTube, y'all be like, okay, man, Randall was being real fair. All right. But that was, it might be a little bit of a different feeling if I recorded yesterday, but it's all good. And I really appreciate you for bringing me on. And yeah, I hope y'all, tap in. I really appreciate y'all.
Definitely, man. I hope they can. Reggie right here for the $5. He says, Coach, how can I contact you? I'm not on social media. Yeah, here go my phone number, 305. Man, you out your mind, Reggie. I ain't giving you my phone number, man. Reggie, man. I'm just messing. I'm just messing with you, Reggie, man. You my man's right there. I'm just giving you my email. That's the email right there, CoachHatesFootball@gmail. You're more than welcome. That's my man, Reggie. I didn't get it to you. But no, I gave it to you right on the email. Other than that, man, again, Randall, thank you so much for coming by. Guys, go check him out. We're on the road to 30,000 subscribers. We're just shy of that. I want to say we might be around, let me pull it up quickly. I need everybody to hit that subscribe button. Our goal is to get to 30,000 before February 1st. We're currently at 29,400 on the dot as we speak. So we're 600 short. Please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, tell a friend to tell a friend. And like I said, we'll definitely make things happen. Other than that, if there are no more final words or comments, man, I appreciate you, man. Enjoy this great MLK day and go and enjoy the playoff game. My poor Dolphins that got kicked out, like I said earlier, shoulder pass to the left.
I'll say this: if Lamar goes to the Dolphins, I'm a fan. Okay, if Lamar goes, he might go. Okay. I'm a fan. Okay.
I thought you were gonna bring up them cowgirls for a minute.
No. Like I might be rooting for the Dolphins. If Lamar Jackson goes to the Dolphins with Tyreek Hill, man, I'm gonna be right on here with you talking about man championship, man Super Bowl. Honestly,
I got it. Well, I'm gonna do an ending. Hold on for me 1 second in the back. Don't hang up, and we'll make this thing happen. So, with all that being said, I appreciate everybody that came through and hang out with us tonight. You could catch us on the Coach Me Coach podcast on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. with Dom, where we talk about other things. But these pop up randomly based on current events, as well as if you're a Miami Hurricane fan or you just like to hear about college football. We do a Canes Talk live show at 6:30 on Sundays. And don't forget those WREs, which is Watch, React, and Evaluate, where we break down all of the top talent in the nation. You can check those out. We're going to start on the class of 2024 after the official signing day. That's when the 2024 class will begin, and we'll start breaking those cats down. But again, if you're new to the channel, thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate you. And with all that being said, Coach Hayes will catch you at the 50-yard line. Peace.